Well, welcome everyone. We've got Friday's Community Day over here on the Huckleberry Art Academy. We've got a challenge to look at. I brought in a special guest, Sean Andrew Murray, where we can. I'm gonna take a look at. I'm gonna take Sean's work really quick. If you're not familiar with him, he's a fairly well-known artist. So you got 100 that you hit 100,000 followers on Instagram.
Yes, I did. Finally.
You've worked in video games for many years. You've worked on movies. You've worked on some publishing projects, Magic the Gathering, some stuff with Guillermo del Toro, this and that. You've probably won an award here or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spectrum, Concept Art Awards.
I spotted your art as the key art for some video game on Steam that seems to be selling pretty well.
Oh, yes. Source of Madness.
Source of Madness, yeah. That was pretty cool. Really, I feel like your work is rarely confused for anybody else. It's got kind of its own unique feel to it. And you're currently a professor over at Ringling College of Art and Design as an illustration professor over there, pulling a certain amount of weight. You got a little bit of swing over there. And you also live down the street from me, which makes it very easy to get you on the show.
Yeah. I think you got all that right. I think you did a pretty good job.
If you want to see more of Sean's work, you can go to cityofgateway.com. You can also search Sean Andrew Murray, and you'll find a few of them. But I think Sean's got most of the art stuff locked down. And so you got your Instagram, you got your ArtStation, and there's
Sean
wherever...
Instagram is / Sean Andrew Murray. So
yeah, and wherever you find Sean's work, there's a whole shitload of it, because Sean draws a lot. And so even with there's being stuff under NDA, you still seem to be pushing out a decent amount of stuff in public, basically all the time, I think, which speaks to your how prolific you are as an artist. But yeah, okay. I want to bring you in because we're doing this week's challenge was Fairy Tale with a Twist, and I thought it was a good fit for you. And as an art educator, I thought maybe you would also enjoy getting to see what we're doing over here at Huckleberry.
Absolutely.
So let's go start. We've only got you for an hour, so let's go take a look see what the weekly challenge looks like right now. I have been resisting going in here to take a look at this regularly because I want to be surprised on Fridays when we go take a look at stuff. Though I'm okay. So where does this begin? We have a lot of sketches and stuff that looks like people have been producing. I'm wondering if I've maybe fucked up bad by like having people post their whips for the challenge inside the challenge thing, because then it makes it harder for us to know where all the final entries are. So maybe we'll swap that up for next week, and we'll maybe keep this one channel for final entries only, and then maybe have like the works in progress happen in a different place.
Yes, I'm seeing some finished stuff, and I'm seeing some sketch stuff as well.
All right, so one of the things we got one agenda for today, and that's banana stickers. Who's going? I want you to pick out an entry that speaks to you personally, and that person is going to be awarded with the highest honor on the Huckleberry Art Academy Discord server, which is a banana sticker.
I see.
And so you got one reserved. I'm granting one to you to distribute however you see fit. I should have given you greater instruction on this in advance, but you know what? I didn't do it, so we don't have it.
I'm just trying to figure out how far back I go.
You go back to around September 4th, I think. Oh wait, okay. Around September 4th, September 3rd or 4th. I think the very first person to post, Max Caliban, posting a sketch of a Little Red Riding Hood as a shaman fighter. That was back on the 2nd. So a week ago. I mean, we're doing these weekly challenges. I posted it last Friday on the stream, and now people have had 1 week to put something together.
Yep, I got it.
Art hero Jake Posh has also. Oh, thanks for the Raiders. We had Darko 4 is coming in with a bunch of people. Kick things off. Hey there, guys. It came in an auspicious moment. Oh, also, thanks for the Prime sub. Ozon the Shore hit me while we were offline. Dark loves your art. Dark loves your art. Oh, thank you. Glad you like it. We're going to be looking at, not my art, but we're going to be looking at community art. We did a weekly challenge, and we're just taking a look at the entries. Waving has a Princess of the Frog piece getting started here.
All right.
I heard it. Jarko says I heard you're doing a collab with Niku Senpai. Looking forward to that. Yeah, I guess he must be talking about it because I haven't said anything yet. But yeah, he and I had a nice long chat, and we're looking forward to doing some collabs and stuff. He's really cool. We met up at an anime con years ago, and then Twitch has reconnected us again recently. Jake's got some pretty great looking sketches going. Lumen Historia has got doing a Pinocchio piece. It looks like it's pretty heavily inspired by the recent Guillermo film.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think I've made my choice.
You've made your choice already? Okay. All right. Well, we're going to be looking at all of them on stream, and then at the end, you get to pick.
Oh, I see. You want to wait till the end to look at it?
Yeah. Well, we want to make sure we see everybody's stuff. Oh, Sleepy's back. Sleepy is a prior banana sticker winner here. You can see that it's absolute proof that Sleepy's good at art. That looks like a Seven Dwarves, perhaps. Caliber starting off with a Snow White piece, it looks like.
Jake, it looks like initially you had three figures in your piece, and we ended up with only one.
You think that was a mistake? Are you saying Jake fucked up?
I don't know. There on 9-5, there was a fairy princess kind of standing behind the two characters. And then it's gone.
Images are loading mega slow today.
Unless there's more to.
Damn. Sleepy's so good at capturing expressions. Like, the expressiveness of all these characters is wonderful to see.
Which one is Sleepy's?
Sleepy? Oh, that's the Seven Dwarfs, the one that's really.
Oh yeah. Got it.
I really like the furry guy. I'm not sure what the.
Is Sleepy's all digital?
Oh, it might be. I think it is all digital, based off the earlier sketches.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like a thing where it's like even the people who are really focused on drawing these days feel like they're all doing their drawing on the iPad rather than working in pencil, which I think is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in hearing from working artists, because a lot of my students work in Procreate on an iPad, but I'm starting to hear a lot of professional artists doing the same, and it's not really something that I've caught on to because I feel like an iPad's too small. But like I was seeing, Wayne Barlow is painting with Procreate on an iPad.
Yeah, Wayne Barlow's been on that tip for a bit. I've followed him on Instagram, and he's been doing lots of like Procreate like process stuff for the last couple of years. It seems like.
Mm-hmm. Adam, it's a great piece. Your Red Riding Hood piece is great.
Jake has a ton of updates on Little John. I don't actually know the Little John story, so Jake, if you're around, maybe you can pop in and like tell us a little bit about your work at some point. If anybody here who we're looking at their work wants to pipe up and talk about it, feel free to hop on the mic and start like talking to us. Ooh, LGN's piece looking very sweet. I had BB Hood from Darkstalkers be our like mascot for this week's challenge, and I think I might have primed people to go after like their own twist on Little Red Riding Hood, because I'm seeing a few of them this week. Dang, Sleepy. That drawing was really coming together. Jackalak. Journey to the West, but it takes place in modern-day Florida. Fan boat, assault rifle. Wukong Monkey King with the Hawaiian shirt. I don't feel like I see a lot of the Hawaiian shirts around here, but I would say definitely there's a lot of guys who ride around with like assault rifle stickers on their trucks. So for sure that's a thing.
Like a shark that also looks like an assault rifle.
There's a popular gun store in town here that's logo is a half shark, half assault rifle. And so you see that around a bit, which, I mean, I think that's probably the most iconic Florida symbol I can think of.
Well, except for flow grown. Have you seen that one?
Low grown.
No, Flow Grown.
Flow grown. I've seen Salt Life. I don't know what flow grown is.
Yeah. It's Florida grown.
Oh,
You
maybe
know,
I'm not
very
looking for
local.
it. I do like the Hawaiian shirt look. I feel like if I get totally ripped, walking around with a Hawaiian shirt that's open all the time might be my new look.
Please no.
I'm also gonna wear one of those magnetic bracelets and wrap around sunglasses. That's gonna be my new look. That's gonna be my new jam. 3 little pigs escaping in a rocket ship.
You said you were gonna, when you moved to Florida, you were gonna switch to all white.
Yeah,
and
I
you're
was gonna
still
go from
wearing
all black to all
black
white.
clothes.
It seems high maintenance though. And then I didn't really want to buy that many clothes. The 3 little pigs had escaped 2 other spaceships, and then found a 3rd spaceship to be able to finally escape the big bad space wolf. It's a good
Where are
idea.
you seeing that? Where are you seeing
That's
that?
my Kong. The usernames are pronouncing usernames are the bane of my existence while I'm streaming.
Oh, I see it. I see
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Pete, would it be easier if you streamed to Discord so Sean can view your screen?
You know what? Yeah, I should just do the turn on camera thing here. And now you should be able to see. If you look at my camera, you can see what I'm looking at.
You do that.
Yeah. So we're looking at the same thing. Weekly challenge. Here we go. Good idea. I normally have that up. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
All right. Is this Little Mermaid but with guns akimbo?
That's a Florida mermaid.
Yeah. This is we've got a decent amount of mermaid art. Like there's a whole like faction of art in Florida that is like all dolphins and mermaids and stuff and like sea turtles for I think tourists.
Well, there's also a very pagan water fountain in the middle of downtown Sarasota that's got these weird, like, mermaid sea creature things, carved all over them.
There's a lot of guns. It's like fairy tale with guns is sort of becoming the prompt there.
That's the twist, right?
Yeah, the twist is that they're all fucking armed to the teeth, like like a standard Floridian household. Yeah, gun-toting Ariel. I am married to a Florida girl. Okay, yeah. So it's not you're not culturally appropriating this kind of gun use. This is cool though. The weird like Lovecraftian Little Red Riding Hood here.
Yeah, it's cool.
From Rimville. Oh, Waving's. I really like the style on Waving's like Princess and the Frog piece here. I think it's like it's got this really charming kind of like personality to the drawing. And then we had some escalation here on the with the fucking 80s action movie face going on.
Yeah, the only question now is how do you swim away from an explosion like you're supposed to in an 80s movie?
I know. I think you can do explosions underwater, but I'm not sure guns actually work underwater. That being the only thing that's unrealistic about this painting.
Maybe they're tiny little harpoons.
I at the very least, I think I'm going to have people properly label when they're finished so that I know when to react to like when it's finished. Iron John. Wait, do you know the story of Little John or Iron John or
me?
Yeah.
You mean from? No, I don't. You mean from Grimm? From Grimm's fairy tales?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I'm not familiar with the story.
All right. So, Jake, are you able to get a mic? Can you pop in and?
Yeah, Pete, I could talk about it.
Yeah.
It's hi Sean, big fan.
Hi. Thanks.
It's the first instance from like Grimm's fairy tales of a wild man as a helper character. He's like chained up in the yard. They find him at the bottom of a lake. Then the prince rescues him, and they go on some sick adventures.
I'm very familiar with wild man myths, and actually, there's a book that I love reading every Christmas called Santa Claus: The Last of the Wild Men. It's a fascinating read. It goes all into the pagan origins of Santa Claus and Yuletide mythology and all that stuff. So it's interesting. I will have to read that Grimm's fairy tale because I love it. And there's also are you familiar with the Wildermen? The costumes, the sort of pagan European tradition of these strange costumes that make you look like you're a walking tree and whatnot.
Yes, yeah. I'm a big fan of those. Those show up on my Pinterest all the time.
Yeah. Cool. I like it. I'm gonna have to read that
Thank
story.
you. Yeah, it's a short read. You should definitely check it out.
As fairy tales should be.
For sure.
I just realized that my guy was not up. I gotta get my guy up here.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, it's good, right?
It's really unsettling seeing the tracing of it.
I don't know if I like this, Pete.
The little guy with the mouth flaps and stuff. He looks around. It's me. That's what I look like on the internet.
Is that going to be the mask you wear at Lightbox?
Oh, yeah. I guess that is still an idea, isn't it? But yeah, I can move him around so he's maybe in the way or not in the way. Don't look at the art. It's not good enough.
It kind of looks like you're looking away.
Well, that's because I'm looking at the other monitor at my OBS to like get him in position in the right spot. But now I'm looking straight into the camera. Hello.
Hi.
I'm sure I can feel the enthusiasm waving off of you.
Yeah.
Humpty,
Well,
Grim Noir,
really
Humpty Dumpty. That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I like that.
Good job, Buey. I didn't realize how many. I was worried that this week we weren't going to get like any entries because I was like, oh, we got so many good entries last time. People are definitely not going to come back for more. And then I am loving how many of you dedicated some time to this. Real Jangus, this piece is great. I love this.
Great. Yep.
Right up my alley aesthetically. And then it looks like we got the final Little Mermaid John McClane crossover that we've all been craving.
Fantastic.
Nice. Is this the final one? I see a signature. This came out great.
Is that? I'm trying to figure out who the
little person is. Is this like
it's almost little Ronald McDonald?
Is it like a human Pinocchio and the puppet both together, or?
Yeah, it's like Pinocchio grew up and is puppeting humans.
That would be a grim twist if he turned out to be the real puppet master.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, Sleepy. The coloring on this came together great. We were talking a lot about how like when it comes to like creating a sense of like lighting and a complete scene, like a lot of people are always shooting for this really intense like rendering, but I'm kind of pitching this idea that it's really just comes down to like a gradient, and that like all you really need to do to get something to feel like it's fully lit and complete is to like figure out some way of gradating the light across the scene.
Pete, you're revealing a secret that makes art way too easy.
Yeah, exactly. And so just like a simple little bit of like light rendering with a nice, clear, warm to cool gradient to like spotlight the action here is doing a lot of work. It's very cool.
So on that note, I actually in Photoshop, I use the render lighting tool a lot. I'll flatten, whatever I'm working on, and have it be kind of like a 50 or 40% layer over top of everything, and I apply like a spotlight, to the area often where I want the focal point to be.
Wait, is there just like a filter or something that's just like add lighting?
Yep. Well, you add this sort of a spotlight. Now it won't detect it's not like detecting 3-dimensional surfaces, but it does add a kind of spotlight and respond to the colors and values that are there.
But it's not like this is like an add lighting button and not just a gradient.
Correct. It's an add light. Yeah, you add a spotlight.
Where is that? Is that in filters? Where is that?
Under filters. Yes, it's under filters, and you go to where is it? Render.
Huh.
And lighting effects.
Oh, interesting. After we're done looking at all this stuff, I'm gonna be showing up. I'm gonna be actually working in Photoshop a little bit today, and so I'm gonna poke in on that and check it out today.
Yeah, I use it a lot actually.
I do like that we're getting to see everyone's works in progress, because it is great to see that everyone's got their own different working process. Tron Gillespie's got his own Pinocchio here. Pinocchio is the artist with the giant noses like a mole stick almost.
When he really wants to be painting a demon girl? Is that what I'm
yeah, there's something about he's thinking about a goth, big titty goth GF with feet. But
does he have a foot fetish?
Yeah, I think the inference here is that Pinocchio has a foot fetish, but he's painting a vase instead. I feel free to pop on the mic if we're getting that wrong. That is
I'm wondering how many of my students. This is like what's going on in the head.
Well, you've got them like designing stuff for the entertainment industry. They're quietly considering their goth GFs that they wish they had instead.
Yes, exactly.
He also has no pants, which is being pointed out in chat.
Yeah. Well, neither does Daffy Duck.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, if you think about it, if you put pants in Pinocchio, it'd probably get pinched inside of those like pivot points, you know.
Mm-hmm. Sci-fi Sleeping Beauty. It looks like Damien's putting a ton of hours into this. This looks like, somebody who's sort of new to Photoshop, but also putting in a ton of work on it. Dang, Vlad bringing the heat this week. Vlad, this is maybe one of my favorite pieces I've seen from you around here. This is really
Fantastic. Cool. Yeah.
I deleted all my work in progress pics.
Oh, really? You had the work in progress pics and now you just like wiped them? You're like, no one can know how I got here.
Oh,
I love it.
Could you talk about this piece a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Basically, I just went into Stable Diffusion and dashed together a bunch of references for myself.
Okay.
I was doing like a combination of Russian princess, hobo, cyberpunk, Ivan Bilibin, like the Russian fairy tale illustrator, and picked up a bunch of references I liked and did my own version.
Nice.
I'm a big fan of Ivan Bilibin.
Great. Basically just generated a bunch of references for myself and picked out the things I liked.
Yeah,
right.
But it's still being drawn entirely in your own hand, which I feel like it's really evident from the sort of careful marksmanship that you're putting in here.
Yeah, it's 90% done by just the ellipse brush in Photoshop.
Nice.
Photoshop, nice. Yeah, it's great. Nice job.
Thank you very much.
Max Kalman is taking it traditional, going hard mode here. Used watercolor and charcoal for the wolf to get more of a spirit feeling. Interesting. Mostly watercolor pens. I'm not really familiar with watercolor pens. It's really tough to take something that's intended to like be make small marks and do these big fills. Yeah. I definitely keep experimenting with the mediums that you're doing here and keep giving it a shot. Jazz, aka Neil, he wanted to join us today, but he told me right before the stream that he wasn't able to join us. But this is his Keyblade Alice in Wonderland that he's got started here. I'm curious to see how far along he got because this was this morning, so this is as far as he got. We're gonna look at some more of his work later. Neil gave me a bunch of line arts to be able to upload for us to do a sort of community color along challenge. He's been pushing really hard on trying to figure out how to create kind of a painted finish to his anime line art. And it was getting brought up, the idea of like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we all were just like, trying to make our own, like instead of having to make everything up from scratch, just focus on the painting part of things if there's a line art or something. And so Neil's donated some of his line art for us. And so I'm going to upload a couple of those today. And then I'm going to start working on one to just like kind of show how I would go about the process. And then, you guys can go and warm Neil's heart by doing colored versions of his line art because he's been pushing out like a lot of good stuff recently, and he's been like a really super helpful community member around here. And so he would definitely love to see everyone's take on his work. And And so I meant to do that right before the stream, and I guess I'm gonna be doing it like during the stream because I'm gonna be getting into it.
Cool.
Beast. This is let's see. White Hood is on her way to bring equilibrium to the world of life and death once more, but the woodsman stands in her way. Maybe an unlikely ally could help even the odds. So this is Snow White and the Huntsman.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I love starting in pencil. Oh, here's Adam's Little Red Riding Hood. Everyone's been hyping it up. Damn, I love this. The massive size of the wolf is like a take on this particular myth I've like never seen done before. I never really thought of like the big bad wolf actually being like kaiju sized.
Really big. Yeah.
Really cool take. You just said Red Riding Hood. There's no red in it.
Well, except her hair.
Oh
Her
yeah,
hair
she's
is
got
red.
slightly red hair. Okay,
Yeah,
do you want to talk about it?
I mean, my main objective with this piece was figuring out a way to go from like beginning to a medium or final stage as quickly as I could. And I also wanted to play around with the composition a bit to make it a bit more abstract and fairy tale-esque versus something that feels strictly fantasy. And so I tried to really solidify a lot of the decisions early on, so I wasn't getting trapped in, the undoing and redoing phase later on. So
that is the trick to going faster. Sorry, Sean, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna say that one of the things you were mentioning, the scale of the wolf, something I tell my students all the time is that sometimes, if you're struggling for an idea or how to take something and make it your own or put a twist on it, in this case, sometimes scale is the easiest but most effective tool to use to take an idea and push it in a different direction. Just scaling something up or down has this amazing ability to completely change the context, and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really interesting insight. I never thought about that. Is there anything that you now okay, so you're trying to lock yourself in early. Was there anything that you would change now that if you were to like actually go back and fuss with it, that you would push around? If you like,
I could probably dump like another 30 hours of rendering into like I'm not really happy how like a lot of the detail of the figure is unresolved. I'm not totally happy on the lighting. Like it feels like it's pretty. I like creating scenes that feel dark, but I often end up making them too dark so that they don't read as easily on a monitor.
I think parts of the cape are blending too much with the wolf behind. So I almost feel like you could add more light onto the wolf's jaw behind her so that she pops out and has more local contrast.
Or you could make the cape red and then you don't have that problem.
Right, that's true. No, you're right.
Yeah. That's true.
I immediately like this is one of those pieces that like immediately hits me as like, oh, this concept's really good and the basic ideas are really good, but there's some stuff, like some basic functional stuff that bugs me and it makes me want to go in and mess with it. So I was kind of curious, like where your attention was going in terms of messing with it. But I mean, yeah, you could go and fuss with it more. It's like a cool idea because it's like it's one of those things that like people inherently understand the expectation, but it's like subverting just enough expectation while still being recognizable that I think it would be like an attention grabber in a spot like at a convention or something. Like it might be worth it to actually continue to invest in this piece because I know you're always looking to add new convention prints or whatever. It's just like the core storytelling of it, the gag of it is like, I think really effective and potentially worthy of like investing more into if you want to go further.
Yeah. What to you feels broken? Because you mentioned there's some things that jumped out at you.
I don't like the square composition too much. I feel like it's so energetic that like this to me feels like it's begging to be a like more cinematic, like wide format piece. And like you have this tangent on the front of and pointing out tangents is the most droll possible thing you can do in a critique. But it's like it's just like it feels like it's begging to be widened or like that this is a crop of a larger piece. And then like with the cloak, I love having a kind of abstract, wiggly shape stand in for cloth, you probably know. But like, I think you can test to see how far this goes because like I think that with it already kind of venturing outside of realism into a more sort of surrealist fairy tale like space, like I think you are pulling that off, and I think it gives you permission to mess with more stuff. Like I think you could make the cape like larger and wigglier in a way that is like beyond realism, and you're not taking as full advantage of that as you could. And I think that especially if it was like a really wide composition, like you could have it like be going all the way off the left here. You could stretch this thing to like really go out there. I don't know how much that fucks with the readability on the wolf jaws, which is something to definitely. There's a lot, but that's the thing is it's not like if you did this it would be a better piece. It's like, I have ideas that I want to try out, but I'm not sure if any of them would fuck the piece up more or if it would make it better. But I definitely see where you're going with it, and I think you're pulling it off to a degree. But like, I think there's more a little bit more tweaking before it goes to final. But
yeah, some of the folds and the way the cloth works around the hood doesn't. I'm not buying. You know, like it.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't happy with that either. I don't know how hoods work, man.
Yeah.
But
they are hard. They're very hard.
But like, you know, it's like. There's like potentially it's like a issue with like the anatomy on like the way that the leg is going to connect back to the hip, like the rear leg and stuff. But like, I like the fact that not everything plugs together just right. Like I think a good reference to look at for this would be someone like Eric Fortune, who really pushes these kinds of believability outside of the realm of fantasy and into something that's more pop art and like fine art and surrealist, which I would not be surprised if that's the kind of space that you would be happier in than going for something that's more like a Wizards of the Coast style fantasy thing. For a lot of
I definitely agree. Yeah.
And so I think that like continuing to aspire to not have it be like perfect anatomy, perfect perspective, but like be using these tools in more of a fluid way to create something that's more pop art or fine art, using genre symbolism seems like such a perfect fit for you. And so like I think like continuing to try to like push on something like this to be able to make that happen would be so fucking cool.
Yeah.
As long as you don't turn it into a 100-hour quagmire. Like my feeling on this is like I always try to commit to those choices as early as possible. But then somewhere around this point in the painting, it always turns into a point of like, okay, I do not want to commit to all the choices I made front end of this. Like it needs more work. And so it's like, can I just get it to like make a few more choices, get it to a rough version of what I really want it to be, and then commit to those choices without turning it into a 100-hour quagmire? Because like it's like taking those choices sort of in phases, and like once you have more clarity, then like stopping solving problems and then locking it in again is like the only way I'm ever able to finish anything, because I never feel like I have enough visibility on it at the beginning to be able to like lock everything at the beginning. It happens like 1 out of every 10 or 20 times.
I have one more thing to add, which is I would look at like there's plenty of pictures of dogs' teeth and gums being pulled away so you can kind of see their teeth. This is kind of like the sort of cartoon sharp teeth thing that, you know, like it's that sort of curved sharp thing, and maybe a little bit more actual dog tooth anatomy in there, and dog like lip and gum anatomy would be helpful.
Yeah,
which is the opposite suggestion of make it more surrealist and unreal, but also potentially correct. Like hence the sort of main problem of like, okay, maybe I'm not 100% on this, but like, what does that mean? Like, what gets changed and in what direction? It's like,
it's not a thing that it can't be long and sharp. It's just that maybe like the connection points to the gums. Again, I go back, you know.
No, I agree fully. I'm just trying to acknowledge the fact that it's like, is it a difficult balance to strike?
Yeah. Because I think the eye is really effective.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
It's cool.
Oh, Calibur's got Vampire Snow White here in its sort of a Art Nouveau style. This is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And maybe there was a reason. Maybe there was a reason why she wasn't aging, sitting there sleeping eternally. Decent. maybe Prince Charming's putting himself into maybe a little bit more danger than anybody realized. Let's see, we've got it. Oh, the animated version's the work in progress, going all the way through it.
Now, this is one of those cases where I'm looking at that rough sketch, and I see some really nice like movement, a nice S curve on the figure, and I feel like some of that's missing in the final. Like it starts to.
You want to see more of that exaggeration?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the thing. I was talking on stream about this. Everyone always wants to use. Everyone's always like, use reference to solve your problems, but it's like using reference is kind of a double-edged sword because it has the potential to stiffen up and take away a lot of the dynamism that is so wonderful about genre art.
But here's the thing: it's more than about reference. It's also about just the process of painting itself. There's a great documentary about drawing, and in that documentary they talk about this fresco painting that came off of a wall because of an earthquake in Italy, and so they had to remove the painting layer in order to preserve it, and underneath was the drawing that the guy had done initially.
The earliest known case of the sketch was better.
Yeah, no, totally. And it had so much energy and life of these figures that are reaching and grabbing other characters and like pulling them by their hair and all this stuff. And it had so much more life and energy to it. And so, over the time when you paint and you're painting over and painting over and painting over, sometimes you lose that. That's why I've developed a method for painting where I always keep my drawing kind of in a layer somewhere where I can reference it at all times. If not, it's there at the end anyways. On some,
I do kind of like my sketch a little bit more. I tried to have more movement, and then it looked kind of like unrealistic and kind of awkward. So,
but maybe I can try something. It's that flowiness that you're putting your whole arm into the drawing into that rough sketch, and you're getting your shoulder moving and all that stuff. Whereas when you're doing the painting, you're starting to like your movements are much smaller and shorter and more deliberate, and sometimes that over deliberateness loses that freshness of the drawing.
Hey, you've talked about a lot in a lot of your portfolio reviews that like you've seen a lot of rendered finishes on portfolios, but very few sketches, and you feel like a lot of the times the sketches have so much character and beauty to them, and that like artists should maybe post their sketches more often as a maybe in tangent with their rendered pieces.
100%.
Yeah, like one of the things I'm looking for with the portfolio reviews, I'm always trying to have it not just be I'm not a person who's ever going to hire anyone. So it's like, I'm not looking at it from the perspective of like, will I or won't I like give this person a job? So I feel like my role is often to try to give them as helpful advice as possible. And like part of the reason I like seeing sketches is because it gives me a greater sense on like understanding where the artist is starting. Because a lot of times, like, a finished work is covering up a lot of what the artist's intention is. And so getting to see a fuller, like, expanded look at the process helps me understand their intention better.
Hey, I got one other thing, actually, about this particular piece. If you pause that video at about 17 seconds, I think that's actually where the piece was at its best. And I'm thinking about Alphonse Mucha, right? And sort of this more flat colors or gradients, and when you towards the end, I think maybe what happened, you started over painting it, and not trusting the graphic nature of the drawing and the way you designed the values there, and by going in and sort of shading it, it actually in a weird way makes it feel flatter, which doesn't seem logical, but it just sort of does. It kind of flattens things out because you've got the same sort of even shading over the whole thing, as opposed to a really strong single light source. So if it was my choice, I would stop somewhere around like 17, 18 seconds.
Yeah, that mix of like flat elements and rendered elements is something I've played around with a lot in my own studies, because I also really love that look. And I feel like, but it feels like it's even harder to balance. It's like it's almost harder to have flat graphic pieces inside a scene with rendered pieces in a way that feels intentional, it's easier to just render the whole fucking thing.
Right, but I guess if you're going to do that, right, then you have to be a little more intentional about your light source and the intensity of your light. Like, so there should have been probably a lot more light on her face, maybe some cast shadows of her arm on the dress, maybe a darker in the back side of that cape, just to really push the values. But instead, it's kind of like everything's got a sort of a medium amount of lighting rendering. And it kind of therefore sort of makes it less dynamic, I think, in my opinion.
Wow, Calvert's really getting beat up today. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I struggled really hard with this because I had so many ideas, and then I had a whole other file that was just playing around with colors and flats, and I'm not really a graphic person, so it kind of scared me.
I mean, I can see how much work you put into this. This is obviously a piece that you like dedicated a big chunk of your week to.
Yeah, it took a lot longer than I realized, but that's okay.
That's great to hear, though. It sounds like you're getting lost in the process, which I mean, that's like what we want the most.
Well, but again, sometimes the hardest thing to know is when to stop, right? Is when to call it done. And I believe me, I struggle with that too. I mean, there's some great stuff going on.
You've never put too much shit in a picture before.
No, never.
Notorious maximalist tells everybody else to slow it down. Like, stop putting so much stuff in your drawings. But great effort. And then I think we just got a couple more. It's like all last minute entries because it's like the due date was noon today, and so it's like at 11:45. Ken Sharp's coming in with a Peter and the Wolf submission, like a sort of Half-Life, or not Half-Life, a sort of Fallout post-apocalypse Peter and the Wolf is what it looks like. Fairy tales with guns is definitely the theme of the day. What if all the fairy tale people fucking blasted their enemies with huge guns?
That must be what they thought you meant by a twist.
The twist was they all had guns. Yeah, I mean it's all very timely.
I have a question about this one. I see it's sort of like movie poster collage thing with the heads up at the top, but is it the same with that sort of bird face, the yellow bird face next to the?
Oh, do you think it's like the question is it a very large bird guy, or is it more of a collage?
Or yeah,
my assumption was that it was a collage.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I mean, there's something. That's a tricky one because you really have to.
I've never pulled this off. I've tried a couple of times. I've never pulled it off. I don't know how it's done. There's some people
that they make a whole career out of doing illustrations like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and then you see all the recent Star Wars movies. They tried it again, and they fucked it up. And it's like horribly overworked. It looks like there was about 50 art directors working on it. Yeah, and like
you have
world-class artists.
You have like a double a lightsaber, like cutting the piece in half.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I think one of the hardest possible things to do in illustration is these kind of like big collage images. And like I've seen some of the very best artists in the world take a swing at it and really struggle. It's a super ambitious piece to try out for a weekly challenge. So congrats, Ken, for taking a huge swing this week.
I like the kind of lava veins in that big monster, the werewolf. Mm-hmm. Is that a werewolf?
And it's Peter and the Wolf. It's like a wolf man.
Oh, right.
Presumably.
Right.
Direct color drawing, which I never do, and deliberately try to be more of a kid's style for the challenge. Imagine Prince was a toxic frog. That's why he can't get kissed, is because he would put the princess into apoplectic shock.
That's a good one. I like that.
That's a good idea.
Subtle, but good.
Movie going straight into color. I gotta try it again sometime because I've just been saying over and over again. People are like, "Do you like never start in color?" I'm like,
"No way,
never." Yeah. It's I
wouldn't even try. I would just embarrass myself.
Truffle coming in at the wire on the Sleeping Beauty with a gun. I do
no,
not
I
mean to
didn't
be
know
teasing, but this is such an interesting twist. And she's like winking at the guy. The guy's like totally realizing what's happening. Oh my god. This is America. This is creative calendar. Oh man. Yeah, this is definitely I like the wink and the expression. The storytelling in here is so funny. Oh man. Oh, Fossil Follies has the dinosaur twist on. Let's see.
It's a fun one. I like that. I love the way he handled the lily pads and the light in the background and the action on the water. I'm a little confused by the anatomy or the dress. Like seems maybe a little angular, but
I think that's the intended style. But I love the overall style of it and the brand consistency. It's great to see too. All right, so that's all our entries for this time. Sean, I'm gonna give you the first banana sticker of the day. Who's good at art this week?
So you want me to actually apply the banana
sticker?
No,
you don't have permissions. I have permissions, but I want you to pick somebody who's gonna win the banana sticker this week.
Yeah, I thought I knew, and then I changed my mind, and then I might be changing my mind again. All right. I think I'm gonna have to go with. All right, ready?
All right, go ahead.
All right, I think I am going with Vlad's piece with the Firebird.
Vlad with the Firebird. Where's Vlad? There's so many entries. Let's scroll through.
Okay.
Congratulations, Vlad. I'm gonna apply your banana sticker right now. Just trying to find your entry so I can highlight it. It's down.
Very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was hard. There's so many good entries.
Yeah, this is a great piece.
I love Adam's piece. I love Sleepy's piece.
Now Vlad's got the yellow name with the banana sticker. Perfect.
I guess this is a successful style experiment.
I really want to give one to Caliber. I just thought the concept was really great. I love I could just see the amount of effort that's like dripping off of it. And I love that you've been game for us to give you an intense critique throughout the process. So I'm going to give you a banana sticker for this week. This is great. This is fantastic.
So I'm glad my hours of work paid off.
Yeah, I mean, you invested deep into this.
Really hard.
I think you totally earned it.
I hope you didn't think I was being too hard on you. I go right into professor mode. You know what I mean?
I love critiques. I really appreciate valuable critiques. So thank you.
It's like a weird twitch I've got now because I teach. Because of the teaching. It's like you can't help.
No, that's okay.
As soon as I start critiquing a little bit, Sean's just like, "Are we allowed to critique right now?" We get deep into it.
Yeah, no, I like critique. I like having even like professors in college. I always had some good conversations through that.
When I was talking to Pete about this the other day, one of the things that really, one of the formative things in my art career was I was around in the early days and the heydays, I guess, of conceptart.org. And what I really miss about that was that you would post things and people would actually give you real, honest critique and feedback. And you don't see that on Instagram and other places as much anymore. But sometimes it was, not harsh, but it was, thorough, and people would actually give you honest feedback. They would tell you what works and what doesn't. And I feel like if I didn't have that early on in my life trying to learn how to paint digitally, I don't think I'd nearly be as good as I am, so.
Well, that's what we're trying to reproduce here is maybe a little bit more open and honest conversation to get people pushing and thinking about their work more, because it's Twitter, Instagram, perfectly good places to get people to see your work, but as far as art conversation goes, it's non-existent. It's basically non-existent as far as I can tell.
Yep.
I'm gonna give the final banana sticker today to Jack Lack, who has been I really appreciate the Florida vibes, and I also love that they've been like posting. They've been doing dailies for like 1900 days or something like that. So they've come in and started to bring their daily habit over here, doing like original designs every single day and sharing them with us. And so I really appreciate all the stuff that Jack's been doing, not just this week, but like throughout like the last couple of months of, what we're doing here at Huckleberry. And so I really appreciate all the activity. And so that's all adding up for banana sticker worthy contribution from me today. So that's it. Those are 3 banana stickers we're giving out this week. If you want more if you want a shot at your own banana sticker, you're going to have to participate in the weekly challenge this next week. And so I was saying that we should start planning these in advance instead of doing them live on stream. Sean, do you want to help me pick out what the challenge is going to be for next week?
No.
Any ideas for what we could do, for what everyone could do as like their challenge?
What about non-sci-fi automatons, like magical automatons?
Magical automatons?
Yeah.
Can we spice that up a bit?
Let's spice it up. Okay. Magical automatons cooking show, doing a cooking show.
Maybe not the direction I was looking for.
Maybe not.
I mean, I meant more along the lines of, can we broaden it a little bit, because we have a pretty diverse community. So like,
I see.
So everybody can put their own spin on it.
See. Well, how about just?
What about brought to?
I don't want to say robots. It seems too.
What about brought to life? What if it's inanimate things brought to life?
That's I'm automatically had to like emotionally jump at that one. Yeah, that one's awesome.
Okay,
I like that idea.
That's a good idea. I like that.
All right.
It gives me only phone it in, draw a coffee cup with a smiley face on it. Call it good.
Neil, you said you weren't going to be here. Now you're here now.
Yeah. It turned out it was a short visit.
Oh, okay. All right, great. Well, I was just telling everybody earlier that I'm going to upload. I don't know, where should I put it. I want to put your line art somewhere so that like people can have access to it. I'm going to pick the lute girl, the guitarist girl, because I like how dynamic it is, and also it has less filigree all over every fucking inch of the thing, so I think it's less likely to scare people off. Where do you think is a good place to upload this? Should it go in? I don't want to make another channel. It's not a week. I think it should be a thing that people can spend like a week on. I don't want it to be a daily thing. So I think I'm going to put it in weekly challenge prompts. And I'm going to say this is the Color Me Jazzmatazz. How do you spell your name? J-A-Z. What the there it is. Jazzmataz. I don't know. I'll add more details and stuff later. But here is the line out for anybody who's going to want to color along today. I'm gonna like take a look through some of the stuff here on the Discord real quick. And I don't think I have I have one other point of business today, and then I'm going to spend a little time messing around with coloring this Neil's line art here. So the last order of business was we did a little bit of reviewing today. I tried to do portfolio reviews a bit ago, where we had like a reserved portfolio review time, and then I was like turning each portfolio review into like 45 minutes of talking in depth to the person about their career, which I think is probably useful to people who receive those kinds of crits. But like, it was like watch the numbers fall off a cliff. Like, it's so unbearably boring for everybody else involved. And so like, I want to do more kinds of conversations like that in the group mentoring thing that we're going to be offering soon. But as far as like public crits, I want to try to bring them back. I want to get them smaller. Jay recommended that so I'm putting this on Jay if this is a terrible idea. Sorry, Jay. That like some channels do like a service for donations. And so I can do a spontaneous 10-minute crit for we'll maybe set up the question is do you guys like the idea of like a $10 donation, you get a crit, you can donate at any time on any stream, I will stop and look at your work and crit it on the stream. Does that feel bad? Is that like, my concern is that it feels maybe exploitative. Like, I don't want it to feel that way. I want it to be like a nice community thing. I want to provide a service. I want to provide a space for this. And it's like, there's a bit of a standard for it here on Twitch. Like, thoughts?
The reason I suggested it in the context of Vue is because you do like portfolio submissions for free, kind of like weekly or biweekly. I don't know what the schedule is for them now. And so like, if someone wants you to go out of your way to do it in time that isn't dedicated to the free time for that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's exploitive, but yeah, I think I agree. If
well, it's your idea. Obviously, you wouldn't think so. I agree with you though. I kind of like the idea because it's like, it's not that I need the $10. It's like, it's more of a matter of people. It's an avenue for people to support the project here. We've been getting some amazing donations from people that I truly appreciate. And but we also don't really have like a way. I don't feel like I have a way of giving back to those people in a really specific way. And so it's like, it's a donation that instead of it just being like, hey, you donated and it's a feel good moment, like, you can still feel good, and then you can also get something out of it. It's an avenue for people who feel like they really want this, but it's also, they don't have to sign up for like a $400 class or whatever. They can just like spend $10, hear the one thing they want to hear, know it's going to happen right then, and like have it not be like a big, huge to-do that requires them to jump through hoops or anything else. So.
Hey, Pete.
Jobby Door did say it's not exploitive, but it might be disruptive. I had mentioned Jobby to Pete that I would suggest a limit on the amount per stream for that reason. But I 100% agree with you, Jobby.
Exothermic Goblin saying, I've seen artists charge $150 for crits.
Yeah, dude, I was telling you.
That is that is way more than I would have estimated.
Pete,
yes.
Pete,
you got to run.
I appreciate the peek under the hood. I got to run though.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for coming today. It was great to have you.
Yeah, and I'll be back. So,
all right.
Thanks for having me.
All right. I'll see you around.
Bye.
All right. That was Sean Murray, everybody.
Sean Murray, let's go. Shout out Sean.
Yeah. Okay. So if the going rate's $150, I would do it for 10. I'd do it for 10.
Those.
But yeah, we would have a cap, probably max 2 per stream or something like that. So it would be like, we'd do probably less than 1 an hour, and like not real. I don't want to turn it into a stream of people lining up to pay $10. Like, absolutely not. It would be like I'm working, I'm doing a study. Somebody comes in, they say, "Hey, can I get a crit right now?" And they give a donation, and it like immediately pops off. And then we time cap it at like keeping it fairly short. I'd run a timer on myself so it doesn't turn into a whole huge long thing.
100%. We can get into the weed. You could get into the weeds of it, but I think is the general idea good? People's.
If anybody like has any thoughts on it, like this is something that like would be happening in kind of a community time where I'm donating my time, every work day. Well, soon not so much. The other thing is I think I'm going to try out a 3-day streaming schedule starting next week because Monday, Wednesday, Friday because. I have not been getting everything done that I need to get done. And like, it was fine when I was in manic mode and I was working 16-hour days. And it's like my energy level is returning like closer to baseline and I am falling behind. And so I'm going to try to have my Tuesdays and Thursdays be more focused on recording for pre-recorded Huckleberry content rather than live streaming it. And I'm going to see if that gets me over the hump as far as like production goes, because I have not been keeping up promises to myself or to like the whole enterprise here in terms of like getting that done. And I've been preaching this idea that like instead of like just getting mad at yourself for not like doing the things that you need to do, that you just like change the format of things. And so this is an experiment. This week I was trying to like end the stream at 2 and then go into working on videos. I didn't do it once during the whole week. It didn't work out. There was either meetings or family stuff, or I was wiped out. I tried to take a break and come back to it in an hour, and then something else happened. And so I'm going to dedicate 2 days a week to that. and that is going to stand in the way of me doing Twitch streaming every weekday. And I'm going to see if that works out. If it doesn't work out, and I would have rather been streaming, I'm going to start streaming 5 days a week again. But we're going to keep experimenting with the format, see if we can get it going good. And aside from that, I think that's basically it.
It's not it.
Oh, that's not it? Oh, yeah, you gave me a reminder for something earlier, and I thought I just covered it. What else we got?
Oh, yeah, you got that. We got the giveaway, too.
Oh, we got to do a giveaway.
Is it going to be another XP pen?
Yeah, let's do a giveaway for an XP pen.
Okay,
Here's the thing. We definitely need to do it because the last guy that won, didn't claim it. They're like, hey, and I was like, hey, give me an address. And they said, wait, I'm in the middle of something. I said, okay, fine, whatever. And then they came back to me a day later and said, can I give it to somebody else? I was like, yeah. That was actually pretty common because a lot of people who are entering have their own tablets, but they know someone who would really love one. And I'm like, great. And then they never gave me that person's address. Nobody won last week. So they should get one. And definitely apply if you actually want to have a brand new tablet, a lot like the one that I use. These XP Pen, it's going to be a 6x9. It's going to be a pen tablet. I forgot, is there a name for the kind that there is? The guy was bad mouthing me. He's like, what kind of tablet is it? I said, XP Pen. He's like, yo, am I tripping? That's just a brand. And I'm like, okay. Thanks for being an asshole about it. I want a nice, large XP Pen to go to somebody who is going to use it, enjoy it, and not be an asshole about getting free stuff in an online giveaway, which is a low bar. I think the vast majority I feel like it was unlucky the way that things broke last time because I believe in you guys. I think that is what is in the hearts of all of you. And we just got we had a weird run-in last. I'm gonna pull up the listing so that we can take a look at it. I just need to find the link over here. It's the link on our Amazon. On our Amazon link. That should be it, right? Scoot myself out of the way here. This is the XP Pen Deco Fun L large graphic tablet, 6x10 inches, digital drawing pad art tablet with 8,192 levels of pressure, battery-free stylus for digital drawing, animation, online teaching, black. And this is why I didn't list out the whole name last time because Amazon listing names are all fucking lame. Oh, there's also it comes in pink accents and teal accents. I'll give you your pick of color, whether you want.
Okay, it's been created.
Blue. You get to pick blue.
The Friday giveaway channel.
Okay, let's take a look at that real quick.
Click on that little party reaction to join.
I'm gonna pull that up. Let's see. The Friday giveaway channel is where it's in text, right? Text channels, Friday giveaway. Yeah, just hit that reaction emote. We're already seeing entries coming in. We're going to be wrapping this up in 45 minutes and picking a winner. And then you can pick your color. I'll DM you. Just tell me where you want it mailed, and I will ship it out to you. Because it's going through Amazon, it's actually easy for us to get even to international people. And we want to put more drawing materials in people's hands because drawing's fun and cool. More people should be doing it, and digital art is fun and cool. And you should just do it along with us. It's good times. So I've got my Photoshop up. I got Neil's drawing up here. I think I actually have check this out, because it's an already clean drawing. I'm just gonna select the delete the white Photoshop action here. And we actually have a completely prepped sketch here with the lines on a transparent background. If you want to get that Photoshop action for yourself, just check it out. It's a free download over at huckleberry.art. Pete's budget for drawing pad suggestions on his website are often a huge discount, and they are amazing. I got the Huion tablet from his website suggestion for $40, and it's incredible. Yeah, the XP Pen and the Huion are both excellent options. They're the sort of thing I would be using if I were getting into art for the first time. The thing that I had when I was first learning digital painting was so much worse than the thing that I'm suggesting to you guys. So I think that if you are getting into digital art or you have some other thing and you want an upgrade, like this is an excellent option. Okay, so yeah, let's get into actually working on some coloring here. I was thinking a little bit about this ahead of time, how I wanted to do it. Like one of the real options here is to try to get a really clean flats to start things off with. Where do I sign up for the giveaway? Go to the Huckleberry Art Discord and then look under the text. There's like, they're broken down into sections. The channels are broken down into sections. Go to text channels. And there's a channel called Friday Giveaway. You just need to click on the emote. Click on the emote here, and you're automatically entered to win under Friday Giveaway. All right. Is there draw along happening right now? Yeah, you guys absolutely can do this along with me. I just uploaded this line art into the weekly challenge prompt section. I'm going to write out the actual weekly challenge, but we're going to be doing this like color along challenge this week. This is a great exercise for anybody who is learning digital art and wants to try to do something that's really elaborate in terms of coloring, but isn't like quite isn't experienced enough to like make their own drawing. Doing these kinds of like coloring challenges was one of the things I did when I was first learning digital painting, and I had a blast with it. And I haven't done one of these in a really, really long time. Let's see, I'm trying to find what a magic wand tool is. Let's see. Sample all layers. This is a pretty good, we can get a pretty decent flat out of this. I'm going to invert that selection with Shift Control I, and I'm going to erase out any kind of little extraneous dots in here. And then I think this is like, this should be pretty good actually, as far as creating a flat goes. Oh, I clicked something. There we are. Didn't get everything perfectly. So because the lines are probably broken in some small areas, like, yep, we got a little break here. It's gonna not fill in all the way on everything. This is one of the problems with trying to do flatting with Magic Wand. So we can finish the flatting off by doing, by just turning the opacity up and just manually brushing in. There's like a few different ways to do this. My history with doing flats is that I'm just going to do something like this, but cover the entire thing meticulously by like painstakingly trying to color in the lines.
That's what I always do too.
And yeah, I switched over to using like lasso for this more often, where you just have to like kind of like trace the edge carefully, and then all the interior you can quickly fill. And like when I'm doing larger areas like this, I'll like get to the point where it's like more or less like I've got a decent chunk, and then I'll break out and fill it and do a lasso tool like that. But honestly, I don't want to do it that way. I want to experiment a little bit. Like, oh, this just froze. Hold on a second.
Photoshop, industry standard, everybody.
Industry standard, yeah. Thankfully, when the window freezes, you can at least like still save it, so you can close and reopen it. All right. So I was thinking of doing something differently with this, because partially like you were like asking, oh, how do I do it in a painted style? And I'm like, what if I treated this more like a painting and was a little rougher with it, and then went back in and kind of did the edges manually later, was a thought that I had. So instead of doing flats in like a nice, precise way, I was thinking about doing them in like, actually, you know what? I'm even going to go and use my like sponge brush for this. Like, get the, I think I'm going to start with actually the lighter color in the background. And then treat this a little bit more like how I normally do my studies, where I'm just doing these like large value blocks, like, and just ignore the fact that there's a clean line art, and then go back in later and accommodate to that as a later step, because it doesn't really matter that it's outside the lines at this point, because this isn't the end point. This isn't where we want it to be finished. So this is an experiment. I've never worked this way, but I just thought maybe I would try to integrate some of the work habits that I have from my studies into this to try it out. I think like doing a clean flat is like industry standard and how most people would approach it. So I wouldn't recommend what I'm doing here. And you might get to see why if this turns out really poorly.
I've actually tried working this way a couple times.
Yeah?
And I've been, like, recently, and I've been decently happy with the results. The thing is, too, you can like, retroactively kind of, like, separate everything out into clipping masks and stuff, because you can just copy your painting into all the clipping masks one by one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's not that painful of a thing. Like, you could go and you can still use like a lot of the Magic Wand selection stuff or the magnetic lasso or whatever to try to like get nice clean selections and then do stuff on top of it later. It's like not that tough of an idea. But there's something about starting loose that's always like helped me kind of work out what I want in a thing. At the earliest stage.
Yeah, the reason I was experimenting with it actually was working with a bunch of like flat colors and stuff, and like figuring out the local color first. Means you don't have as many like happy accidents where you have like colors from one area of local color bleeding into another.
That's exactly it. That's exactly why I wanted to try this out. Like,
so far I've only done it twice. First time was a success. Second time was kind of a failure.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with processes is like, oftentimes it's like, it's not a matter that it's like a good process or a bad process in terms of it could work or what will never work. It's more of a matter of like, how often is it likely to work? It's really an issue of consistency. Even me cleaning this up, I think might actually not be what I'm looking to do here. But I really do feel like treating this more or less like how I'm doing the studies. I'm so glad I didn't pick the other ones with more filigree, because this is like I'm already looking at like the number of little details and stuff I'm going to have to try to do something with later. And I'm already starting to like sweat a bit. Whoa, my window just ran away. That was awesome.
Yeah, I actually picked that one partly just because like it has a little bit less detail than like most of my stuff, and also there's no like hatching, so like the color will like show through more.
Yeah, it's like the more that there is like an intended golden path, like I think the less potential there is for like happy accidents to happen. So like having lighting already in a drawing, my experience with that comes from trying to do like comic book coloring work way early in my career and being fucking terrible at it.
Okay. Why was that?
I think it was like I never felt like I really knew what the coloring was intended to be, because I was always trying to figure out what the like hatching lines meant, like that there was like a real golden path for what the hatching lines were like intending. And I think a lot of cases they're just kind of tossed in there casually.
Yeah. The first few drawings I did where I was like trying that like hatchy style out, the problem I kept running into was like you can just throw in a bunch of hash marks randomly without thinking about like the light or anything.
Yeah.
And it'll look good as a drawing, but then when you start painting it, it's like, fuck, there's this like thing in the way, and I like can't move it because I'm like committed to it or whatever. I mean, I guess you can just erase it, but yeah, if you don't do a good job, it's really easy to just like make painting impossible by like doing too much in the drawing.
Or like, you know, there's ways of getting it to all balance out, but yeah, like it's sometimes hard to tell like what is your job as a colorist when you are, you know, you're working as an amateur, you don't have a ton of like professional experience with coloring, and then somebody like, you know, you get this gig dropped in your lap and you're like, okay, I guess I'm a colorist now. Like what's asked of me here? And it's not clear. Like, you know, the idea that you're just going to like take it in a new way or like interpret it like however you think is appropriate doesn't feel like what the point of the money is. Like it feels like, oh, there's you know, I'm the idiot in the room. Like I am being brought in. I'm not the one who actually drew it. I'm not the one who really has the vision for this. I'm just some dumbass who like is kind of operating Photoshop. And so you're trying to not put too much personal spin on it, or at least I wasn't. But then I see really good comic book colorists, like they put a lot of their own spin on it in a way that like expands and honors the original pencil drawings. And I always think like, damn, good for them. They're doing good in a way that I didn't realize I could do when I was like trying to do this early on in my career. So I haven't done this in a long ass time, and so I'm kind of curious about like if I can do something good with it, because I've been giving you all this advice on like, here's how I think you should be doing this stuff, but I haven't actually committed to trying this specific kind of challenge in a long ass time. So we're gonna find out if I'm totally full of it. If I do a really good job on this, I would honestly be surprised. Like the reason why I don't have full faith in myself on this is because it's I think a different skill to like work with line art than it is to just make an original painting. And I think one of the things that would really help me here is if I was referencing somebody who did a really good job, like you've been, you know, referencing your art heroes, your anime art heroes, to try to see like how do you want it finished. And you know, that is like a really important step, and I'm not doing that here. I'm really just like rolling in on this like totally blind, hoping that I'm going to be able to do something cool with it. But that kind of like blind optimism and just having fun with the process is like what I want for other people too. And that's why I'm treating it in this cavalier way and not doing the appropriate amount of research. Because this isn't professional work. This is a fun challenge on a Discord server. And, you know, a nice opportunity for everyone to kind of like put their own original spin on it. Like, if everyone's doing like weird different things to your line art and having their own original take on the colors and like the texture of it and everything, that's better than like everyone just does their best imitation of who we agree is the best like anime colorist.
Yeah, it's really hard to switch to like a totally different process. I have the same thing with like painting. Like I'll sometimes do a good sketch and be like, maybe I shouldn't spend a whole bunch of time trying to figure out how to convert this into line art. Maybe I should just paint and like keep painting until it like looks good. But I just have no idea how to do that.
So there's some questions about how to get underneath the lines here. Creative Caliber's having trouble with my delete the white Photoshop action, and then Double John's working in CSP. Here's the simplest, hackiest way to accomplish the same goal. Take the layer and change its blending mode to multiply. You will get the same, more or less the same result instantaneously. The difference in it is that it will never be able to do color holds, and you won't be able to merge the line layer with anything else. So if you're not going to do color holds, and you're not going to be merging it, you can literally just change the blending mode, and that will work on everything. That'll work on Procreate, CSP, Krita, Photoshop. They all use the same terminology when it comes to blending modes, and so that will work. So that's like, if you can't get the delete the white thing to work out, I'd love to troubleshoot that with you guys. But multiply is, yeah. If you're selecting Double John saying, oh, I just select white and then I hit delete. It's like, yes. But then you would need to go in again and lock the opacity on that layer and then fill it with black. Because otherwise you're going to get these semi-deleted pixels. There's going to be a lot of really ugly fringe. So I would recommend using multiply over that method by quite a bit. But I'm going to use the version with the deleted lines. I'm also thinking this fringe is looking pretty freaking gross right now. So I'm going to just, I think I'm going to do a little bit of a textured painted background on it. Because I don't need this. This isn't a game asset that needs to have a clean edge. So I'm going to do a little bit of a stylized abstract background to give the figure a little bit of sense of space, but then also relieve me from having to maintain a cleaner edge, because I keep wanting to go in and tighten up these edges, but that's not actually that's kind of a waste of time for the work method that I'm doing. So instead I'm going to see if I can reduce the need for that while also beautifying the image here.
Are people gonna post these somewhere?
Yeah.
This character is actually one of my friend's D&D characters.
Oh yeah.
She actually cried when I made this and gave it to her.
Oh.
Yeah, so she'd probably like to see everybody's interpretation.
I mean, I'm also going to be sharing that we're doing this on the Huckleberry Twitter account, and see if I can get, and I'm going to share that post on my personal account to see if I can get people to come in here and color along with us a little bit. I just want to I'm going to have my rough version from today to see if I can bait people in a little bit, and so we might get a few of these for you to share with your friend.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, because she loves that character. It's we've had this really long-running D&D campaign.
Mm-hmm.
He's very attached.
Oh my God, that's you're tugging people's heartstrings here. We're definitely gonna get some submissions. So tell us a little bit about the character then. What's the character's personality?
Oh, she's a bit, her name's Jemmy. She's a tiefling. She's purple. Her personality...
Don't say colors. Don't say colors. Don't poison this. Don't poison people.
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. I didn't even think about that. Never mind. She changes
Not purple.
colors all the time because she's...
Tons of different colors.
Many colored. Yeah, yeah. She could be any color. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know why I said purple. Yeah, it was actually her first D&D character, so she was a bit new to role-playing games and stuff at the beginning of the campaign. So the character's personalities sort of changed a little bit over the course of the campaign. But one thing's always been she's I don't know, she's sort of a scoundrelly type character, but she's good-hearted.
good-hearted scoundrel, a rogue with a heart of gold.
Yeah, exactly. Always sort of like, feeling and like being kind of greedy, like overtly, but like is also always giving money away to like people who need it and that kind of thing.
Nice. LGN's asking you how long you've been drawing / painting, because they're really impressed with the line art here.
Oh God, it's so hard to say because it's like, like I did my first drawing when I was like a kid, or whatever. But like,
sure,
there have been really, really long like breaks. Like there was a 10-year gap at one point. Yeah. So like, I mean, I've been drawing my whole life, but like, I started taking it seriously. Like making a conscious effort to like try to draw most days and like try to get better at drawing since my early 20s, and I'm like 31 now, so like the better part of a decade. You could probably do it faster if you were like more disciplined and consistent with it than I was.
Yeah, it's like I think like, oh man, one of these days I'm gonna actually get good, and I'm like about to turn 40. I'm like, you know what, it's fine. A lot of artists do their best work in their 50s. Like I've got 10 years before I'm expected to do anything decent.
You've done lots of good stuff, Pete.
It's all yeah. It's good enough. I'm just saying, like, the really good stuff. Potentially 10 years out from now.
Yeah.
Like if I spend the next 10 years learning, I think I'm gonna be pretty good.
Yeah. Just pretty good.
Memorably good. Like I think I'm proud of the work I've made so far. This isn't like a humble brag or anything. I am very proud of the work I've created so far, but I really do kind of imagine like it as like a lifelong process that I'm like not worried about getting to some destination. But I had a friend bring this up, like that, we were actually talking about an artist who passed away this last year, who was part of like the sort of fantasy art scene in the southern United States. And like he was saying how, whatever, I'm almost turning 50, and like in the 50s is when all the master artists all did their peak work. And so he's like, I don't care what people think about my work right now. I'm just preparing to have like my 50s be like the greatest period of my career. And I'm like, damn, what an attitude. That is a totally different perspective than what I feel like is this sort of ambient tone in the, genre art space. Like everyone's worried that they're not like a 13-year-old prodigy, right? Everyone's worried that they're too old, that their life's passing by, that like this whole thing is already like beyond them. And this guy who's been a career artist for his whole life is like, he's like, just wait and see what I'm gonna do in my 50s. Like I'm gonna have that attitude. That's the best. But he didn't make it all the way through his 50s. He didn't make it to 60. So it's important that we're like just going ahead and like doing our thing now and not like anticipating that there's some future date where we're going to be like a real legitimate artist. Like the work that we're doing all the time is the real art, is really ours. The art that we're like is defining who we are to like our peers and to ourselves, and isn't just some like perfunctory step leading to some future artist that we're going to be down the line. I mean, when you look back on it, anybody who's spent some time making some art, you can tell like they're at every point when they were still learning that their style was still like emerging through their work, even at the earliest steps.
You're already legitimate.
Yeah, you're already you. It's fine. You don't need to like prepare to be some future self.
So your art is memorable, by the way, Pete.
What's up?
Your art is memorable.
I'm just trying to figure out how do I define this like potential like greater self that I'm like, potentially possible, 10 years down the line. Like, I don't know. Like, it's an interesting idea. I like the philosophy of, I'm going to be creating my most iconic work in my 50s. and that everything that's leading up till now is like a matter of like, you know, building skills and exploring and like having experiences that are ultimately going to inform some version of myself like 10 years from now, you know. And like the same way, like when I'm exercising, I'm like, yeah, like it's not really about what I get done this week. It's really about like the process of how this is going to go over the course of the next 12 to 24 months.
That is actually one of the things that's like really exciting about art is like once you sort of like have been at it for a while and you've just seen the improvements kind of happen, like it is very exciting to like think about the future. It's like, man, I've made this much progress. Like, how much progress am I gonna have made like 10 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, my last 10 years haven't made a ton of progress personally. But I think next 10 years, I think I've got a different attitude about art now than I did like a few years back, where I'd really turned art into a job, where it was a job I loved, but it was still like a job, and I wasn't like actively seeking out opportunities to grow. And that's different than how I am right now.
All right, interesting.
I'm still finding myself trying to carve out like the silhouette, spending a lot of time on that. Really,
yeah.
I think I'm gonna avoid that altogether. I'm gonna stop doing that.
It's a good thing you didn't pick the one with tons of filigree. I remember that one being like a commission, and like I wasn't getting paid that much, and I wanted to get it done fast, and like I had to manually mask off all that filigree ever. It was horrible, and I didn't even do that good a job of it because I was like rushing.
My plan is to do any kind of filigree on top of the lines.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably smart.
Sparrow McGee says I tend to filigree with you. Solid.
That's good.
Full points.
I'm glad we're in full agreement.
Yeah. We're in complete full agreement. Clay Chibi thought it was funny. Man, you got a lot of Tetsuya Nomura devices all over your guy here.
I mean, why else would you draw anime?
Nomura-isms.
Cover character and belt buckles. No, there's this like illustration of like a character from Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, I think, that's been like mocked relentlessly by the internet. But I unironically love it.
Too many buckles?
Yep. It's got buckles. It's got a big pizza cutter sword.
Oh, wait. I know what you're talking about. I love that one. I remember seeing that I remember seeing that ages ago and going like, that's one of the fucking coolest RPG illustrations I've ever seen.
I know. I don't know why the internet doesn't like it.
I was about to pull something up. Oh, no. I was going to say the worst is the bouncer. I think the bouncer is like the low point for this style. Do you know what I'm talking about? The bouncer. It was like a PS2 launch game, where it was like a brawler that was like art directed by Nomura, and it's just like I think all his worst habits like condensed down into a game that it really sucks and is really ugly, and it's just like permanently locked in an era that I don't. There's got to be some level of nostalgia for it, but it's like, what if we try to make Kingdom Hearts like badass and grown up, and is just like one of the ugliest examples of this style. Oh boy, it just like did not. It just did not translate at all. I mean, I'm looking at it. It is kind of awesome how deep it goes. This fan art here. Yeah, this is going deep into the paint for sure. But yeah, he's got like this chain with he's got a giant wallet chain, and he's got like a big chain with like a huge cross on it hanging from his neck that is just absolutely locked in the early 2000s. Also, the tribal tattoos. So
Yeah.
so many tribal tattoos. Holy shit.
What's this game called again?
The Bouncer. I recommend checking it out. It's a total piece of shit. It's like a beat 'em up, but like they wanted to try to use all the features of the PS2, and the people don't really know this, but the PS2 had pressure sensitive face buttons, and so they try to make it so that if you press the button like lightly or medium or heavy, that it would do different moves. And so sometimes you'd try to like do a move where you'd uppercut a guy, but you'd press the button like slightly, like half a pound of pressure too much, and it would do a totally different move. Because like trying to use face buttons at like slightly different levels of pressure precisely and quickly is a terrible idea for a game. It's also, you can beat it in like 45 minutes. It's really short. The story makes absolutely no sense. It's deeply ugly. It's bad. It feels bad to play, and it has the worst designs I think Nomura's ever done. Oh, this guy, he's got his jeans like rolled up all the way back to his knees, which again feels like exactly of like a very particular point in time.
I found a screenshot where there's like a caption on the bottom of it, and the dialogue is, "You would be such a babe if you weren't trying to kick our butts."
Looks like he's got a heart after all, especially when it comes to her.
Peak dialogue.
Oh my god, look at his face. Dude, what's wrong with your face? Oh my god.
Oof.
What a game. Yeah, I bet this game probably has some really good dialogue quotes. If I was just nonsense streaming, I would just be looking up clips from The Bouncer right now. So, yeah, I gotta go back to drawing. I'm like looking at this like shitty old PS2 game, and I'm just like, damn, I could spend my whole afternoon looking up stuff about this. Stat, I'm over here being productive. God damn it. What have you guys done to me?
Anime.
Walkable Waka.
Miyazaki was
Waka
great.
Waka. The game was fun, though, Del Monza says. No, you're wrong. This is a bad game. It's a bad game. There are some good bad games from that era. They're all in the Dreamcast. Peak cringe. It almost seems like a parody of the style. I mean, that's kind of the point. Like, that's like, I think people are trying now to figure out how do we make fun of the Nomura style, but I don't think you could go harder into it than he's already done for himself. Right?
Yeah, the best you can hope to accomplish is to like copy him or be a pale imitation.
Yeah. Okay. So what I think I need to do, and what I think I'd need to do the whole time, is like instead of getting little zones of local color exactly right, is to maybe block out the larger volumes, which is what I typically do when I don't have a line art, to try to give it a little bit of a sense of the overall volume and lighting. That gives me an additional amount of context to be able to make like smaller choices. And because I don't have an edge, I can sample stuff from around there and kind of paint it in loosely, so I don't need to like, because if I was trying to make like a highlight color along this tail or whatever, if I had it cleanly cut out, I couldn't necessarily do this and just like take a brush that's too big and wash it over the top loosely and be able to produce that kind of lighting.
Okay. You can kind of do it with just like clipping masks.
Yeah, you can kind of do it with clipping masks or whatever, but like just genuinely getting loose with it instead of kind of like the fake loose that I've been doing, I think is what I really need. And looking at it from like a now that I kind of know my way around this thing, I think just like, because I want to get kind of a loose value pattern for it, and then I want to start roughing in some color, and then I want to do all the details at the end. I want to try to replicate my painting method in this, but while having the line art create a certain amount of limited structure.
You like how she just has like roller skating elbow and knee pads?
But they're also like gilded, elaborate. Like, I think it'd be nice to scuff these up. Like, one of the things that I think would be good to do with all of this filigree is to use it as a vehicle to like accumulate like scratches and chips and like bits of dirt and paint and stuff. Like, if it was painted but it was worn away, it would wear away in a different pattern near where all the edges of the filigree is.
Okay. Yeah. That's actually something I really need to, like, I don't know, take into consideration more as, like, textures whenever I'm painting. I'm always super lazy about it. Like, I think one of the worst things about the, like, Frank Frazetta thing I did the other week is, like, the rocks have no texture on them.
But no, they do have texture. The texture's in the drawing.
Oh, yeah, there's a little bit, but, like, I don't know, if you look at, like, really awesome, like, I don't know.
I think but that's the thing. I think you either need to put the texture in the drawing or you need to put texture in the painting, but you shouldn't probably put it in both.
Okay.
Right? That's my guess.
You might be right. I have some references I should probably go look up of like really awesome anime rocks. They've got like spiky hairdos,
dude,
and, like, little blushies on their
check out
cheeks.
these fucking awesome anime rocks.
Go up to an anime convention, all your merchandise is just rocks. They're anime rocks.
Dude, these are anime rocks. Did you just sign rocks at this anime convention? No, these are anime rocks.
Look at them. Oh man. I put her eyebrows really high. That was not intentional.
We can put it even higher if you want. I mean, I can repaint these wherever I want to.
Oh man, I should probably work on this like line art for this Alice with a keyblade while I'm sitting here.
You can, yeah. Or you can take that and start to do a painting of it and then do the line art afterwards. That was a thing to try as well.
Yeah, I could give that a shot. The problem is every time I do that, it turns out looking bad. Like, yeah, like with my speed paintings, I like try to do that usually. Like I'll like do a rough drawing and then paint under it and then start painting over it. And like I just reach a certain phase where like all the painting starts to make it worse. It's weird. I think part of it too is that like chunky brush I use for everything like isn't necessarily doing me favors all the time. Like I get this like unintentional clay-like texture to all the materials when I like paint with that thing. So like, yeah, end up with like, I don't know, hair that looks like clay and like, yeah.
That might be the best. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily rule that out as a positive. It's hard to say. It's up to you.
Like you've seen some of my speed paintings, I think. There's like, I don't know, they like, look at them again. I don't like it. But maybe I'm just not good enough at it. Like maybe if I just did it more, I'd figure out some kind of way to make it work.
I think giving it a couple of swings is probably never a bad idea.
I also do like, I don't know, there's a lot of artists who do that, who like just dive right into like painting without finishing the line art or whatever, and then kind of draw line art over top.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. There's a lot of really good artists who I really like who work that way. The Aoin Hatsu guy works that way, what I can tell.
So I'm trying to make sure that instead of cutting it up into a series of little color zones, that I'm getting more gradation across the whole thing. Like this.
Okay.
And immediately as I'm zooming out, I'm like, uh-oh, too many tiny little high contrast color zones, like the straps and the white shirt. And so like spotlighting it a little bit is giving me a lot of value here. And like loosening it up and getting those larger gradations back into it. Like the number one thing I want to avoid is like, and the reason why I was like, I don't think I want to do the flats in at the beginning is because like as soon as I get locked in to being like, well, this is supposed to be this dark and this thing's supposed to be this light, like it turns into a real bummer process of like me picking away at tiny individual areas without looking at how they add up to the larger context. And so I really just want to make sure that as I'm catching myself doing that, I'm then zooming back out and seeing how it all kind of comes together as a whole. And with like a loose background like this and like some stuff already sort of blocked in, I feel like it's possible to get to a point where it's not like it's kept loose enough where I'm getting the things that I want out of it broadly at the beginning, and then I'm going to tighten it down later.
Okay. I've tried doing sort of like what you're talking about on some pieces like unsuccessfully. Like I don't know, like my process has pretty much been like zoom in really close and do tons of like picking at like shadow shapes and things like that, and I end up with like no gradation like you're talking about between like the head of the character and their feet. And what I've done in the past is either like take a multiply layer with like a light gray on it and like brush in with like a soft brush on the feet.
Yeah.
Or take like I think usually like a soft light layer with some like yellow or something on it and like brush in at the head with like and like it doesn't quite work. Like it creates a gradient, but it like fucks with the colors really badly.
Yeah.
Like the shadows turn like yellow and stuff.
Yep. It's possible to do if you have the right color palette and you're brushing in the right like blending mode colors with the right blending mode. But no, you're right. Like trying to like add it in at the end can be problematic.
Okay. Maybe do it like in the middle of the process or something.
Yeah, I think it's an order of operations issue. Because like if you try to make everything clean and like work on everything tiny and then you try to get the gradation, you're going to end up having a bad time. I think like the reason you don't see so much of a deal about it in a lot of cases is like if somebody is like zoomed, sometimes people who are zoomed in just like very carefully like creating all these little details and color zones and stuff, they might have in the back of their head this idea that like as we're closer to the top of the character, this is all generally lighter, and then okay, as we're going down here, I'm never going to get that bright again because we're kind of outside the spotlight. And that like they are doing it, they're just doing it in the back of their head instead of like explicitly as a step.
Okay.
So like you can do it explicitly as like a part of your thing where you go, okay, well, here's the layer where I add in like a general sense of gradation across the length of the figure, but you can also just like constantly be reminding yourself, like you looking at what is really on the page and going, well, that's definitely not it. I'm not getting the effect that I want early, and so I'm going to step back and like work on it a little bit until I get the colors and values to where I want. And like just be reminding yourself quietly of it as you're going through the process.
Okay. I was kind of doing that with the last thing I did, just like remembering like gradients, like don't make everything like uniformly like the same value structure.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing. It was kind of working. I feel like I got better results on that for the amount of time I invested than like stuff leading up to it. So yeah, I'll have to keep doing it.
We have a giveaway winner.
We have a giveaway winner? Let's check it out. I've been fussing with this for 45 minutes already. Let's see. This is a Discord. Discord, we are looking at the giveaway. The Friday giveaway winner is Museri. Congratulations, Museri. Are you in chat? I don't see Museri in chat. I'm going to DM them and let them know that they won. I'm just going to switch my view back over here. All right. So let's hope we get a response from them. We got 16 entries today. Thanks everyone who joined in. Let's see. All right, back to Museri. You've seen around. That's fantastic. Well, I'm happy they won, and I've DM'd them, and I hope that they contact me back and they don't yell at me this week.
An oddly aggressive contest winner.
Yeah, really like confrontational.
Oh God, I'm so tired.
Yeah, this week beat me up. I was like, I was pretty on my workout game this week, and I was like, I'm feeling pretty strong. I got these sore muscles. I feel good. Getting decent sleep. I was wondering why I was like so beat up today. Just feeling like, I don't know, maybe I was working too many hours. I was like, am I getting depressed? I thought I was getting depressed, and then I tried to do a push-up, and I couldn't do one push-up. Like, even as I've gotten horribly out of shape, I can still do, about 10 push-ups or whatever. I was like, well, maybe that is a sign that, like, it's not an attitude thing. It's not that I, like, really need to procrastinate or whatever. It's like, I am physically weak right now in a way that I was not even fully realizing until I tried to use my body, and it didn't work. I'm like, I'm going to take that as a sign that I need to do a little bit better with my rest this weekend. And like, I was planning on getting some stuff done this weekend. I'm a little behind on things, but boy, I'm going to respect my body a little bit and like try to get my energy all the way back up. Because, when you like try to use your body and it says no, that's like a pretty good sign. You should probably like chill a little bit.
Yeah, generally. In my case, the reason I'm tired is I keep screwing up my sleep schedule. Like every time I'll like set up a daily schedule or whatever, because it's actually really helpful for productivity. Yeah. Like when you have ADHD, having a bit of like external structure, even if it's self-imposed, goes a long way to making you more productive.
Oh yeah.
But I'm so bad about like going to bed an hour later than I'm supposed to, like, and then not waking up like when I set my alarm or whatever, and just gradually my sleep schedule starts to drift. I was basically like bitten by a Australian when I was a teenager, and my sleep schedule changes with the phases of the moon.
A Wazzy? Where Aussie?
Yeah, and right now we're transitioning out of Aussie mode.
I wanna light surprise you with a problem.
Yeah, what's that?
So I've been working on something with Jazz and Jengus the past 20 or so minutes. They notified me that Chrome raises a flag that your files from the website are malicious.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And I
happened to me
tested
too.
it out. Yeah, I tested it out, and in an incognito window, I got the same. And then I was like, okay, guys, let me get this. I see in the Dropbox the files are here. Let me zip them up because Jengus gave the recommendation to zip them up. And so I zipped up the gradients one, and then I removed the file that was up there, and I uploaded that one, and I tested it, and I still got the malicious flag. So now everyone who has in the past downloaded the gradients one, when they click the link, it'll say, hey, it's broken. We can't find that file anymore. So yeah, that's something that's going on.
The one on the store. So as people go to the store to like get the free download, it's like super broken.
Anyone who tries to download, any of the files, at least for us who have tested, me, Jay, and Jengus have all gotten the whole file is malicious thing from Chrome.
Weird. Wait, but what? Oh, so on the store download.
Mm-hmm.
That's really weird. Do you think the file is somehow infected by like a virus that got on my computer or something? Is it possible that there actually is some hanky-panky going on?
I mean, it's potentially possible. Let me see if Microsoft Defender says anything.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I'm gonna add some color to this thing. It's kind of like roughly getting where I want it. Put my favorite one on here.
Ooh.
Hell mode. Oh, that's kind of cool.
Man, I can't believe I went so long without knowing about gradient maps. They're actually super fun.
I love them. Yeah, I don't know. I think it makes sense that people would go their whole life without knowing about gradient maps. I think of them as being kind of like weird and esoteric. And let's see. Is this oh, sure. Good. Yeah, just give me an address to mail it to. It's like, yeah. Yeah, and for warning, anybody who wins anything, we will be asking you for your mailing address, your email, and your phone number. That is just so that it's like on the order. Whenever we're trying to like submit anything through an online order thing, it always asks for that info. And so it's like, I get it's weird, like somebody on the internet being like, give me all of your personal information. Yeah. I don't know if it ever gets used that much. For a while, I was just like putting in my own phone number along with orders if I didn't have a phone number from a customer, and I never got a weird phone call in association with one of those orders. So it's like technically required, but I don't know if it's like literally a major, major issue. All right, let's try taking this and then like, uh-oh, I'm going purple. The temptation to go purple is so strong. Fantastic. Now I need to just not open the window and accidentally dox the winner of our challenge. That would be excellent. I'm going to close that DM. Get back to it later. Oh, fuck. I think I'm going to keep the colors light. So I think going and actually twisting the values a little bit with the color might be interesting here. doing something like that, where I bring the shadow color towards like a light purple as opposed to like a darker tone. I'm actually flattening the values some, leaning on the lighting a little bit more, leaning on the line art a little bit more. And then I'm gonna still add like a hard light, but now we're over the top of the lines, and so this is going to fuck with the line color a little bit, which is what I really want. Oh, I'm getting... Oh, they've been saving up for a tablet for months, and now they're going to get one for free. They live in Belgium.
Oh,
this is great. Fantastic. I sure hope I don't end up committing to paying for a tablet to be shipped from the US to Belgium, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be okay. All right, so I want to get... I do like a nice, cool blue color. I wonder if we should do that, or we should go more of like a... Ooh, look at this. Musical instruments, I think, look good when they're flashy. So I think this like purpley red might be good for this.
Crazy rainbow guitar at the moment.
Firefox does not hate the ABR or the GRD files, but it seems to now hate the zip file.
Yeah, what are we doing that's like setting off alarm bells for them?
So far, any scanners that I've used and Microsoft Defender have not said anything. So it seems to be just at the browser level that they hate these files in some specific way.
Huh.
Firefox, not so much, only with the zip file. And then Chrome just hates all of it.
They're like, actually, the reality is that there's nothing wrong with your file. We just fucking hate your guts. We just think you're a huge piece of shit. I was imagining like reddish hair from the very beginning.
Okay. I like the red eyes.
Yeah, it's the same color as the guitar. I thought the guitar matching the eye color would be fun.
Oh man, it's weird how much redder it looks on her face than it does on the guitar. Color relativity.
Yeah, I'm like letting the colors drift into like oil slick territory. In this case, I'm probably my expectation is that like I'm going to try to get like a bunch of really weird color tones to appear as a result of the way that I'm mixing all this stuff. And then I'm going to go in and try to tuck in all the areas where it looks like total trash. And then from there it will start to like normalize. Like what I've found with my studies and in my own pieces as well is that if I have like a really wild color palette where a lot of things are like kind of bleeding into each other and making all kinds of accidental colors, when I actually go in and start rendering the thing, they tend to kind of like amalgamate into something that feels a lot more natural. That it's just like it's defining the kind of edges of the color gamut overall, but it's not defining what specific colors are going to be in one places, because that's what happens on the next step. So it's like totally acceptable for stuff to drift into kind of like weird territory at this point, just so long as like I commit to making sure that it's not so out of bounds that I can't fix it on the next part.
Okay. Damn, you're going crazy with these colors.
Yeah, but like what I'm seeing when I'm looking at this is that like I'm looking up at the navigator and I'm seeing like a color palette start to emerge. So it's not about the fact that like these colors don't make any sense. That's fine. What I care more of is like, check out how it goes from like this really hot orange here down to in these like duller, cooler purples. if this all gets kind of gradated together as I start doing color mixing, I'm going to have like a gradient that goes from like orange to pale purple with like cool, interesting intermediary steps. And because I'm going to be like precisely pushing them in particular places later, it's like going to all look fairly logical.
Okay.
So like everything up to this point is intended to create a kind of like experimental, interesting space for like interesting accidents to happen. And then everything that happens next is intended to like harvest the best parts of those accidents and turn them into something appealing and finished feeling.
Okay. And the navigator, her hair just looks red.
Yeah, the navigator, the hair just looks red. It's fine.
Is asking if you plan on making more gradient maps in the future.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To make available, I imagine.
100%. Because I love experimenting with gradient maps, and I want to like I don't know how many people are actually like making them as a thing to share with other people. So I would love, like, I think people think of me as the gradient map guy in some circles. So I want to embrace that and like bring the truth, the glory of gradient maps to the world, creating more interesting ones to play around with. And then I'll have them for me and you guys will have them for you. It'll be awesome. All right, so for the horns, I wanted something that feels a little weird old habits here. I want something that feels kind of golden. I was thinking like they would be like dark towards the tip and then they would lighten up quite a bit. But when I look at them from the navigator, it wasn't reading at all. They were like disappearing into the background in an ugly way.
Okay.
So
I know what you mean though. It's always cool when like the horns are like a different color on the end than they are at like the body of them.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to like, because like on the face, I'm not going to be doing a lot of gradation. Like I'm gonna get close to flat shading on the face, but then having like an area nearby that has like a lot of like changing, like a lot of topology and like it has like a more aggressive gradient on it, I think is always a cool look.
Yeah.
One of the questions I have in my mind is like, is white stuff going to have a blue shadow or a yellow shadow? Because right now it's like I have this sort of blue that is like a shadow tone that's potentially very nice looking. Like a lot of stuff is some stuff feels like it's kind of going into blue when it goes into shadow, while other stuff feels like it's kind of pushing into like the orange. And I want to like generally define like, is shadow on this piece orange, or is it a warm shadow or a cool shadow? I guess like I have these really warm highlights in places like on the hair, and so like pushing into a cooler shadow feels like the appropriate choice, which means that I would need to kind of smash in like a nice cool color in places where like the shirt is going towards white. So instead of having it push towards this yellow color, making sure that all my cast shadows turn blue instead.
So I've got a follow-up, and then we've got some questions here in chat. So it turns out when I download the files from Dropbox, Chrome doesn't hate the files at all.
Yeah.
It's somehow because it's going through Squarespace that it hates the files.
Squarespace is infinitely awesome system for selling products on the internet.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. And yeah, there's let's see who says, yeah, do you ever go back from Double John, do you ever go back to look at the grayscale and adjust it after going to the coloring stage?
Yes.
Or do you just adjust the values from the color layer?
I will try to do it from the step that I'm on, and if I can't do it, sometimes I like with the face was going too deep into shadow on this side, and so I reached under here and started to glaze in a little bit of extra white to like reduce the amount of shading that I was getting on the face. I'll make little tweaks like that if I feel like it's that's the best, most efficient way of doing it, but I try to avoid it when I can. Instead, I would rather like try to use the tools that for the layer I'm on. And if the whole thing doesn't work, I peel the whole thing back a step. The main thing is like I need to be able to commit to like if the whole thing is really, really not working, if it's really fighting me, I need to accept the fact that I've done a bad job on it on some earlier phase, and like go back to the what do you call them? I want to say levels, the values, and adjust the values so that the thing starts working correctly. Because like if I really can't get colors to stick to it, I'm convinced it's got to be like the something is wrong with the values that are fundamentally preventing me from getting what I want. Like right now, one of the things that I'm running into is like the guitar is, I'm trying to add some like additional color zones onto it to see if I can get all these subdivisions to kind of make sense. But it's all looking kind of like a big block of color and not like a thing that's having light hit it. So that might be a problem with me on having some earlier step where like, see, as soon as I start adding a little bit of lighting to it on the layer underneath, things start like popping out and looking a little bit more correct. I think I just had the whole thing maybe a little dark and it was messing with me.
Yeah, definitely reads a lot more like a guitar.
Yeah, and now we're getting like this interesting gradation between the sort of orange and pink, which I'm appreciating. It's like we have like these, like we have this like pale yellow that is kind of mixing with stuff, but we've got this like orange that's bright orange that's kind of like flaring out and emerging into the color space in a way that's really eye-catching. And then it goes down into this like rich maroon, and then in the shadows it goes into this blue, and so it's remaining all fairly colorful, but it's kind of traveling pretty long distances into different colors, which I like. I'm gonna add a little bit of that orange into the eyes a little bit, make sure the eyes stay bright. It's tempting because there's so much hair over the face to try to like, for me as somebody who is like thinking of these as 3D objects, to be like, well, there's going to be tons of like cast shadow going across the face or whatever. But like that is absolutely not the effect that we're looking for here. There's something that is like inherently translucent about anime hair that I need to respect.
Yeah. Always draw the eyebrows through the hair.
Yeah, but also like I don't usually think there's a lot of cast shadow, even though it's like huge hair that would create this like really deep AO shadow across the face. Like I think that in a lot of cases, like light kind of hits the face through the hair.
Yeah, in my experience, there's some anime styles where they go for like a blend of like realism and anime.
Mm-hmm.
They like draw in the facial features a little bit more, and they can kind of get away with having like more realistic rendering. But when you're drawing like a really anime head, like realistically rendering it is usually a mistake. In my experience, maybe I just can't figure out how to get it to work. But
No, I think you're right.
I can't figure out how to get it to work.
Also, Nuzeri has something to say.
Wait, I got the chat is out of a place I can't see.
Oh, on the call.
On the call.
You can unmute.
Hi, so I just wanted to hop on a call and personally thank you.
Hey,
Like,
it's my
was one of-
pleasure. Very happy
Like, I
that
was-
we can get a tablet in the hands of somebody who's looking for it, for one.
Yeah, like as I said, I was just saving up for a tablet for so many months, and like my parents are kind of unsupportive of me following art, so this is really gonna help me push myself in the right direction.
Fantastic. Oh my God, this is exactly, you're exactly who we were hoping would get one of these things. This is why we're doing the giveaways.
Oh my God.
Making a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I've not done a good job of figuring out how to make these giveaways, like, boost attendance or whatever. I'm just, like, not good at, like, trying to go on social media and tell everybody, like, come here to get free stuff. Like, take a shot at, like, getting free stuff. It's like, I really just want people who want to, like, do this stuff along with us to not feel limited by the fact they don't have the gear. Because, like, you need a little bit of hardware to get going on this hobby. And, yeah, I want people to be able to come in and join because it's fun. So I'm happy that you're going to be able to do it. And I'm going to submit that order, like, today. So it should be there in a few days.
Like just a few minutes ago, I was literally just blasting my music into my headphones and just dancing around the room.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I just wanted to personally thank you, and I hope you continue the good work.
Yeah, no, we're going to keep doing it. And like the fact that this is so meaningful to you is going to influence us to make sure that we continue to do it. Like, you know, that was the reason I wanted to do it in the first place. And so now that I know that it's working out, like that means that we'll probably end up getting tablets in the hands of more people. And so thank you so much for letting me know that this is something that's helping you out. Very happy to be a part of it.
Well, I'm happy to be on the receiving end, but yeah. Oh my God. Well, yeah, that's all. Now I'm going to let you get back to your work.
All right. Thanks so much for popping on. It's been great to hear from you.
Yeah.
And so that's what the dono money's going to, guys. So if you guys want to subscribe on Twitch, you got Prime subs. Feel free to swing them our way. We're going to keep investing back in the community.
I think I might sign off. You ever so tired you're like kind of
You sound like you need to sign off, man. Go for it. I'll be posting up the results of this later.
Right. Okay, I'm excited to see it. All right.
Take care,
good night,
guys.
everybody.
Have a good one.
Bye.
That's the Pete Mohrbacher exhaustion test. Do you try and do a push-up?
Yeah, if you try to do a push-up and you just collapse into your nose, that's like a sign that maybe you should like log out. But yeah, I'm like, I think maybe I'm coming down with something. I might be coming down with something that might be what's getting me. Or I worked out real good in a way, and I haven't done that in 5 years, and that could also be it. It's one of those two things, probably.
Dang. Maxu and Del Monsta, thank you so much for those Prime subs.
Yeah, thanks for the Prime subs. They're free if you already got Prime, so we're happy to take them and use it to, like, you know, invest back in the community. And like, you know, we're looking to grow this thing right now, and so we're going to be rolling any money we get back in basically straight back into Huckleberry. We just had a meeting with a friend of Dustin's who's a WordPress developer about building up like a really nice site for subscriptions and teaching and stuff like that. And that's going to be, like, I think our next really big investment. And I've been trying to figure out how to get like the courses launched so that people can do sort of private group coaching and things like that. Get that piloted so we can start bringing more teachers in. Like, we're at the point right now where things are kind of early, and serious people are still kind of skeptical about this thing. They need to see that it's like proven going to like be a good thing that people are interested in before they want to jump in themselves. And so for me to be able to get the top quality teachers, I need to like set this up and prove it as an idea first. And so that's the next thing that I'm going to be working on. I meant to like get more of that done today already, but not today, but like this last week. But yeah, I'm burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah, we're doing what we can to make sure that there's not a CoffeeZilla video made about Pete.
Yeah, I don't think there's any risk that CoffeeZilla. I'm not gonna. Yeah, what do you call it? Like, you really have to like go deep to like get a CoffeeZilla video made about you. His standards are very high these days. Like, you've really made it.
Scam for Angelarium coin for $15,000.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever going to be a Huckleberry coin. I don't know, unless you guys really want one. Nah, I'm joking. Like, we're not gonna do anything weird like that.
Obsidian Grove, thank you so much for that Prime as well.
That's Adam.
Oh yeah, Adam, thank you, sir.
There's this like bot on Discord that can like accumulate coins for users who are active, so you can make some sort of Huckleberry coin.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was actually talking with Niku yesterday about different things that he was doing that like his chat really loved, and one of them was like an RPG they could play in chat while he was hanging out drawing. He was saying he would stream for like 16 hours at a time, and so he would just be grinding away like full on building his entire portfolio and taking care of all his commissions like live on stream. And so for over the course of that time, while people were hanging out, even if there wasn't anything to talk about, they would like grind XP fighting mobs in his chat. And I was like, that's kind of interesting.
That's really interesting. I didn't really know that anyone could push the boundaries of a text box so much.
Yeah, like what's possible on Twitch is like with Twitch chat is like pretty cool because there's like a lot of really smart people who are constantly trying to push the boundaries on that kind of thing. I personally feel like a massive newcomer. After a month of Twitch streaming every weekday, I feel like I've learned like 5% of like what is possible on this platform and what like we could do if we were like fully committed to it for a long time. It's a little scary actually.
Well, 5% is bigger than 0. Every day makes progress.
Yeah, it is progress. It's huge progress. Like this has been, I've had to like hold a really different mindset over the last month as we've been getting this built up because there's like, as I was saying, I didn't really have like a growth mindset like for the last several years. I had something that worked. It allowed me to do my own art, and there wasn't really like a huge reason for me to try to switch up the formula a lot. And so I wasn't like looking into new software, learning new techniques or anything like that for a while. But this whole experiment is forcing me to just have to like, keep my mind open to new information all the time and learn about new platforms and software, meet new people and try out new things artistically. And it's like, it is a little bit challenging to constantly remain open in that way, but it's actually been a really positive experience. So I'm going to see how long I can keep going with it. Or maybe that's the reason I can't do a push-up right now. I've like left my mind so open that like my brain is like burning and overheating. And it's like, it's cooking me from the inside out.
Max is asking, the Niku is Niku-senpai?
Niku-senpai, yes, that's right.
Oh, what an interesting name.
Yeah, he's a really cool dude. I was trying to do when I was doing the live workshops, I was trying to like go around at conventions I was at and like talk to people and be like, hey, you've seen my booth. It's like 30 feet long. It's right there by the entrance, like, hey, I'm doing a workshop that is about like artists and like the sort of intersection of art and business. Like, is this something you'd be interested in? And most people were like, ugh. Like, did not want to have a conversation, did not want to be advertised to. But like Niku's like, yeah, man, your shit's so fucking sick. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking to you right now. And like he wanted to like hang out and talk business and like get to know each other. And I was like, hell, this guy's awesome. And he's like, I'm doing Twitch streaming. Do you want to like be a guest on my Twitch stream? I was like, yeah, man, fucking call me or whatever. And like I found an old DM conversation from back in like, probably it was like 2017 or whatever. And like I don't remember it at all. I didn't realize we actually ended up touching base again. But like now we're like talking again and it's cool. Like he's really great. And he's like, here's links to my Discords. Feel free to steal any of my community. I was like, okay. So it's super generous. He was just like spending time last night pitching ideas to me on how to grow this Twitch channel. And at some point I was like, Niku, man, I'm really tired. I can't keep thinking. Like these are all really good ideas and I want to do this again sometime, but I like can't keep talking to you right now. Like totally burnt out.
Nice. Maxie says, oh my God, love him so much. He's one of the best art streamers. Learned so much about art watching Niku's lives.
Yeah, he's great. He's obviously like super generous when it comes to teaching, and like has been great to get to know. And like he was like streaming crazy hours and was one of the top performers on here. And it sounds like he's not doing it so much anymore, just because it's like it's tough to maintain that level of output. He's not streaming as often anymore, I get the sense, but like we're still gonna like keep in touch and see what's up. Who knows? Maybe figure out other ways to collaborate too. I mean, finding somebody else who's like wanting to just help people out and be generous on the internet is like exactly the kind of personalities that we want to like have attracted over here to be a part of this project at the moment. So I gotta double check to make sure he wasn't was he ever canceled for anything? I mean, if you guys have heard of him?
I've never heard of him, so I'm totally unbiased.
Oh, okay. I gotta double check before I start like collabing too much with people these days to see if they've been canceled or not.
Yo, this guy Logan Paul, he's
so fucking sick. Yeah. This Gary, now Gary V would be fine. I'm trying to think who would we get that was like the biggest. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of. There's this guy who's been talking about investments, but it's really tough these days. He said his name's Sam Bankman something. I don't remember exactly.
Guy Kanye West, he's an up and coming musician. He seems pretty nice.
Dude, I would fucking collab with Kanye in a heartbeat. That guy's. And what's Kanye up to? Is he like he was having an episode or whatever, and like he was in the news all the time, and then I haven't heard from him in a bit.
Got canceled for saying some stuff about Jewish people.
Yeah, he said he was going to go DEFCON 3 on their ass, but that doesn't make any sense. he was having a mental health episode. I don't know if you can necessarily hold that against somebody. I mean, I guess you can.
I mean, when you've got Alex Jones being like, "Nah, you didn't mean to say that, right?"
Yeah, when you're freaking Alex Jones out, I mean, you're either like the world's biggest psychopath or you are off your meds. And I think he was off his meds.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I mean, he was he is still the most prized American rapper. So I think that he just snapped under the pressure and needed some time off.
Yeah, maybe. Oh wait, no, I know where I've seen him. It's all photos of him and his girlfriend dressing up in his weird clothes, and they're getting photographed on various different vacations.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's like him and his girlfriend, who's like his muse at the moment, and they're all always dressed up in weird Yeezy clothes with like, and then they're just like getting photographed like going in and out of like restaurants or like going on vacations and stuff like. So he maybe is just spending some time chilling out.
Or he got abducted by the aliens and they're just using AI to like replace him.
Yeah, maybe. It's entirely possible. We live in interesting times. I mean, would you really not collab with Kanye if Kanye was like, "Hey, we got to work together"? You'd be like, "No, Kanye, you didn't say. You said all the wrong things, and now I won't work with you."
Like, oh no, you said this in 2013, and I personally stand against it. So no.
I think didn't he say so Hitler wasn't that bad of a guy? Like, didn't he say that?
Yeah, he said all the worst things. Like he went and was like, he's like, you know what? Everyone tells me not to say these things. And that's why I gotta say all the wrong things because I'm trying to blow people's minds. And I saw that, and I was like, that's all really funny that he's doing that because this is like testing the limits of like what a person can come back from, but he's a unique personality. Like if anyone could come back from it would be Kanye.
Like in that sense, he sort of reminds me of what Doja Cat is doing right now. Like she's going through this demonic Antichrist renaissance, and no one's really digging it.
Really? Wasn't everyone mad at her because she's like my fans don't really know me, and I don't really love them, and like everybody who says they love their fans is fucking lying.
Yeah, that, and she also is uploading a ton of like demonic stuff. Like she's trying to be alt and be creepy, but it's just failing, and she's just coming off as rude and obnoxious.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Honestly saying that out loud, like that all sounds kind of interesting to me because like I always like the gothy aesthetic. So I mean,
no, that's not goth. That's just pure like 15th century witchery stuff or whatever.
Isn't that gothy though?
I wouldn't really say though. I'm not sure. I'm not
I don't
really
know.
an expert on aesthetics.
It's got me more curious about what Doja Cat's up to than anything else she's ever done. So, but I don't think she's looking. I don't think Doja Cat's sitting back in the lab going like, "What a 40-year-old men looking for more of." Like Doja Cat's like, listen, this has been really good at hitting our core demographics, but we gotta get more 40-year-old men involved in what Doja Cat's up to these days.
Yeah, we got to get more edgy teens and masochists apparently.
Yeah, we need edgy middle-aged men. Can we get them to like pay attention to what I'm up to? Can we get more suburban dads to show up to these concerts?
Yeah, can we get more dads whose passion for rock got suppressed by family life?
Yeah, we want divorced dads with skull rings. You think that's possible to do?
Not as possible as getting dads with long hair and Metallica t-shirts.
I feel like that overlaps. Yeah, and possibly dad trying out edgy necklace for the first time.
That's like the dad canon event.
Yeah. Dad with divorced dad with leather bracelet.
Exactly. And it has to have at least 8 spikes.
Yeah.
Like this one time my friend took me to this weird gothic shop and there were just corsets and spiky bracelets and kinky wear everywhere, and I was just like totally lost because I'm not really comfortable finding myself in that situation. But she was my friend, so we all made funsies and jokes about it.
It's all an aesthetic.
All in all, yeah.
So the thing that's getting me on this is like I keep feeling like I lose the thigh with the tail back here, and I'm trying to figure out how to get the overlap right. I think maybe I need to get it turning more orange or red. And so
I would have said to push the tail back a bit, but I remembered that it's a coloring challenge, so you can't really do that.
Yeah, I mean, if I were drawing this, I would probably have the tail come around over here more, and like have there be a gap between the tail and the leg. But yeah, because it rolls right into the knee and kind of tucks into the boot. Yeah, and it's like I really, really want to move this tail because it also is like it's got this character's got this stuff coming out of her back pocket here, and it's like emerging from that and then disappearing into the knee here, and on the navigator especially, you can really see how much that's kind of vanishing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go on a layer above here and just this is not what you guys should do with Jazz's artwork. You should be respectful to it in a way I'm not. I'm going to leave it where it is because I don't want to set a precedent. But, all right. So I want to be on a new layer here. I feel like I've got all the colors that I need, and like a lot of them are generally in the places that I want. But I'm running out of time also. This is like definitely a more involved project than doing what I normally do with my studies. And this is the point where I actually want to get into defining the edges on things. So, and if I feel like I've painted over too much on the lines, I have a copy of the lines here. I can bring these up, and I can even like say like soft light and color hold them. Maybe colorize. Turn these into like wait, this is wrong. with the wrong layer here. What's going on?
I really like the shifting colors of the guitar.
Did I start drawing on the lines at some point? Oh.
I didn't really notice it.
Yeah, I added some shading on the line layer at some point. That's why it was fucking up. Wow, go me. My bad line, yeah. My bad line, my bad like layer management is starting to come back and bite me in the ass. Oh well. I can go and fix it. I actually have a clean version of it here. And so I can go and make a new fresh clean line layer. Part of the reason I kept like one in there just in case, back pocket. Now I've got a clean line. And so now I can colorize or color hold the lines if I want to. They're still set to multiply. I want normal. So you can see I can have the lines like fully inverted if I want. But I can, if you do colorize in the hue saturation panel here, you can change stuff to any color. And so if I wanted to have like blue colored lines and like tint everything that was under the lines blue, I could like soft light or hard light, and then now it'll like add a blue tint to everything. Can invert that, turn it into red. I can also do that over just some parts by either masking it, or I can, let's see, change this to normal, fill it in with black, and then with the alpha locked here, I can take a like soft brush or something and paint just paint a color anywhere I want on here. And it will, this is what color holding is where you alpha lock a line layer and then you paint colors on top of it, and you can paint the lines to be a different color. And you can do this kind of selectively to be able to create extra effects without actually painting over the top of the lines. The other way you can do this is by using a clipping mask. If you make a new layer and then hit Control-Alt-L, or if you go to layers here and say like, where is it? I don't know where this is. It's called like clipping mask. It would be at this point release clipping mask. I don't know. It's in here somewhere. But it jogs over. I think the other way to do it is I think is it Alt click? Oh wait, Alt, and then you click the space between the two layers and it jogs over also. And then you can fill in whatever color you want there. And that will effectively create a color hold as well. You can release it, you can see it's actually coloring all over there. But then we can like lock it back down and have it just exist on part of this. And it will inherit the blending mode of the base layer, so we can go and play around with different blending modes on the color held layer as well. This could be good to do like, you know, we have all this filigree and stuff. Say we delete out all this. We can go and say, we're just going to take a bright yellow and we are going to paint over all the filigree lines just with some effects or whatever to bring them out. Instead of having to paint in every last detail on the inside, we can actually use the lines a little bit instead. We can also use this to bring in, like, we want that, if we want bluish shadows and we would think like, hey, the white lines on like the shirt are too much, we can paint blue into them because that's the shadow color. and get a little bit of a painted line look that way. I think this is really common when people are doing like a painted, wanting to have a little bit more painted look on their anime style thing, is to go in and do a color hold, and then paint in some colors on the lines to be able to, like, you know, make highlights, areas that are highlights, like adding what's basically a little bit of light bleed, so that there's more focused detail on places. Like, and if we wanted to like bring out a little bit of glow around the eyes instead of having like the totally dark eyelash, or like lessen the line that is on the border of the mouth where we want to have less contrast. Those sorts of things are all really possible as well. I'm going to leave that off for a moment. We're getting some colored lines as a result of the hard light going over the top of the lines already. Am I going to get canceled for saying that I would collab with Kanye West? Dustin, if you Dustin, would you collab with Kanye West if Kanye called you up and said, "I need you to be my video producer. I need you to be my video producer. You're the only one in the world. I want to do it." Like, would you be like, "No, Kanye, I have principles"?
Gosh, I gotta fix these files.
So that's not a definitive no then. It's a tough one.
Honestly,
it's a tough one.
If Kanye asked me to collab, I would first of all say, wait, what songs do you even have?
Yeah. What was what was Greg or something? What was that? Kanye what?
Like
you saying Kanye West?
My Dirty What?
Is that a stage name or is that your real surname? What's going on?
Like, then his daughter, like, Northwest.
Yeah. I think Kanye's greatest work is yet to be recorded, and he's someday going to get medicated correctly.
Well, here's to hoping that happens.
Yeah. I hope everybody involved in Kanye's life ends up doing well. Seems like a difficult person to be around sometimes. And I don't think that anyone should go DEFCON anything on the Jews. I think that that's probably fair to say.
Yeah, just to be safe from the Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter.
Keyboard warriors.
I don't think anyone should be going DEFCON anything on anyone. All right, certainly not against any kind of religious groups. That's not what I believe is right. I think Kanye West just needs to open up Photoshop and like start exploring a new angle for his creativity. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you did say you wanted to collab with other people and bring them on and teach them how to paint. I think that might be.
If I could get Kanye, if I could do live stream where I was teaching Kanye West how to paint in Photoshop, I would 100% say yes to that. And
I'd be there for it.
I mean, if he were to say hateful things on the stream, I would tell him I do not agree, and I would probably say, like, I'm not going to be party to these kinds of comments. I mean, that's what even Alex Jones tried to hold to that standard. It's like, I don't think there's any real question about that level of decorum. It's just, probably. Yeah, I don't think I think there'd be very few people who, given the actual opportunity to collaborate with one of the most famous and successful artists in the world, would say absolutely not. But maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe they're humble.
Maybe I don't know. It's a difficult theory. It's a difficult question to ask, I think.
So you're almost at 3 hours.
I know. I just wanted to get this to a point where like the potential of it was obviously showing through, and I'm like, feel like I'm getting closer. No, never mind. I'm not going to collaborate with Kanye West. I'm sorry, everyone. I know how interesting that would be for everyone. I know how much you are all kind of getting excited about that, but I've thought about it, and I've decided that for the sake of the future of Huckleberry Art Academy and everything that we stand for, I, Peter Mohrbacher, refuse to collaborate with Kanye West. Let that be the headline. I will not collaborate with Kanye West, even if he offers to pay me $1 million. I won't do it.
I have New York Times on the phone.
Get Kanye West on the phone and tell him I'm out.
On it, boss.
I'm sure some of you guys, there's a decent amount of people in chat. Some of you guys, whoever you are, whoever has contacts, call him up and tell him that I will not do it. I don't care how much money he offers me. I have principles, and I will not collaborate with Kanye West. I'm sorry.
But what if he promises to give you the secret recipe to having perfect lines in each stroke?
I don't need them. I'm sorry, Kanye. You've said too much about too many controversial topics, and I can't can't get involved anymore. It's a shame. He's got some bangers. And I hope he lives a happy and fruitful life. We just can't work together. I bet he's fucking mauling right now. He's freaking out back in the studio. You know, he made a lot of plans. What was that?
I said you're going to send him into another episode.
I hope not. Listen, take it easy, man. Still a great artist.
The debut of young Pete isn't going to happen after all.
Yeah, I know. Shit. Sorry, everyone. I know it's a fucking huge letdown. God, what a bummer. Okay, we'll move on, though. We'll find other collaborators to work with. We've already got Neil Gray and possibly Niku Senpai. Young Pete. Yeah, if there's a non-canceled rapper that wants to work with me on learning digital art, I am happy to. You know who I really wanted to work with? It is maybe not impossible to get. I really wanted to get Freddie Dredd. I want to do some artwork for Freddie Dredd and collab with him.
It would be cool if there was some kind of some kind of musician where they're like, yo, how about we actually do the cover art? You're gonna do it, and I'm gonna help teach you how to do it.
That'd be cool, yeah. But I mean, I've licensed my work to musicians in the past, but most of them are all heavy metal musicians, and I don't actually listen to that much heavy metal. So I thought it'd be cool to maybe get Freddie Dredd for to see if I could make some branding for him and work with him on something. I thought he and I would make a good, interesting fit. So if any of you guys know Freddie Dredd, feel free to send him my way. Might actually be able to get Waka Flocka. Why? Is Waka Flocka down bad right now? I know Waka Flocka mainly from that bit on the Eric Andre show and not from his music.
Oh, where he shouts Flocka?
Yeah. And the N-word.
Oh.
It's like Hannibal Buress. They've got what's that girl that wrote the book about how she was happy that her mom died? It was on the Eric Andre show, and it's just Hannibal Buress is just screaming Waka Flocka lyrics at her. It's a good bit. Ringo Starr's does digital art. Hell yeah, I would 100% collab with Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr, my DMs are open. And Flocka too. I'll take Flocka too. I know it's not as big of a get, but he seems cool, so I'd take him too.
We're just going to start off each stream title with X celebrity you are invited to join the stream. Just rotate until someone bites.
I'm trying to think. Who's the guy that wore a clock on his neck?
Flava Flav?
Flava Flav. Yeah. He's not as famous anymore. He can come on stream. There's been some of these guys, some of these musicians actually are streaming on Twitch. So like, who was it that I was thinking? T-Pain's on Twitch all the time, right?
Yeah, T-Pain's on Twitch. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I would collab with T-Pain in a heartbeat. That guy's cool as shit. T-Pain, if you're in the chat, come on our Discord. Can you get Snoop? I did do NFTs back in the past, so maybe. I never bought any Snoop NFTs though. Sorry, Snoop. Soldier Boy used to stream a lot. Yeah. I think we can do better though than Soldier Boy. I don't know why I think we could do better than Soldier Boy. I just like have this blind confidence that we can. All right.
I mean, you've got a good collab resume so far. You've gotten Sean. I mean, he's technically your friend.
Hey, I got when I was doing the NFT thing, I collabed with what's his name? The lead guy from Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, nice.
Tom Morello. So I did an art collab with Tom Morello once. That's not bad. Yeah. We did some interviews together. We talked on business meetings together about the thing. He art directed some pieces that I did. They came out fine. Yeah, it's like we got connected through working with the same company, and then we ended up. I talked with his people. I talked with him. How did it go with the NFTs? It went fine. I made some decent money. If I had cashed out at the peak of the market, I would have done all right. But I was stubbornly thinking that I could do better all the time, and so I still have a lot of the crypto that I earned from back in the NFT days. I don't know what's going to happen with all that stuff next. It's down horrendous right now. But I still think some of that tech is kind of interesting. But there was that whole big controversy recently. It seemed people were trying to cancel Mr. Beast and Sea-Dog and shit because there was some event that was using Near protocol for ticketing, and even though they weren't actually doing anything with blockchain, the fact that there was services being provided by a company that also did a blockchain was enough to get creators to freak out and start to cancel being involved in the whole thing. And it was there was no hey, this is people gambling, or this is people speculating on the value of these things, or it's this horrible cash grab. Nothing was actually the matter. It was literally just the brand association with an NFT was enough to get people to again open up yet another major controversy with Mr. Beast, which was wild to see. Definitely proof that I should not be currently going into NFTs super hard. I do not need that. I have important things that I want to do and people who I want to work with and stuff I want to accomplish, and trying to stubbornly try to stick to some technology for on principle when it's all it would ever do is just make people mad at me for no benefit is objectively a bad move. And so I'm not going to do that. So I guess that also means that I can't collab with Snoop Dogg or Eminem because they're deep into NFTs still. So sorry, Eminem. I know, there was actually a non-zero chance. So the same people that connected me with Tom Morello, Eminem like gave them a shitload of money at one point and was like deeply involved in their whole thing. And so there was like a non-zero chance that I was going to be involved in an Eminem project at some point, but the bottom dropped out of it before I ever got involved. That would have been a weird one. That would be even weirder than the Tom Morello thing. There was a point where people thought they were rolling blackouts in New York because of NFTs. I thought that was weird. Like people were like, you see, it's happening. This is what Bitcoin does. I don't have power right now. I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's it. Like nowadays, it's just like the only contact people have with NFTs is like, you know, quietly watching the numbers go down. I feel like if I were to be really meticulous about this, like I could very carefully push all these colors around and get them into like a really good place. I'm glad that this will be a week-long thing. It actually, I think, take me longer than making a piece on my own. Because like trying to make it in a way that like serves the line art and like elevates it is an interesting challenge that I'm like less experienced in than like just making stuff from scratch. But it's very relaxing. I could definitely get into doing this a lot. It blew over like 5G and vaccines. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, man, there was a time in the UK where people were like burning down 5G towers because they were convinced it was giving them coronavirus. I mean, you can say what you want about the US, but the UK were the originals. Like the UK, anything weird that happened in the US, the UK did it first and they did it better. I don't feel like they get appropriate credit. That's not. That shading sucks. All right. I'm getting close to like logging off on this thing. This is quite the challenge. I kind of like the way it looks at a distance. I would need more time in order to really pull this thing together. I'm gonna, let's see, bring a little bit of the lines back in because I feel like I'm losing them a little bit here. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to do like a little bit of a glaze over the top with maybe some hard light. Let's see what happens if I take one of these darker colors and I use this to add a little bit more gradient, because I don't want to add like harsh shading to like the face. But I feel like it's a little flat, it's a little pale. Ooh, there we go. I feel like immediately adding a little bit of like extra warmth and a little bit of an extra gradient there is like adding a lot to some of these flatter bits, giving it a little extra life. Yeah, there we go. Looking juicy. Definitely learned new things about digital process today. They weren't even 5G towers, LOL. They just looked like them. So yeah, people were burning down any kind of cell phone tower that they thought may or may not be 5G. That's epic. Congratulations, Brexiteers. You've solved another crisis. This color is not the color I want here. I like the way that the warmth is popping out here. I'm trying to do kind of the opposite with the bottom to add some gradation towards the bottom that is going to be cooler. Is it this way? Wow, purple is popping. Maybe a bit much. Let's see. Ooh. Actually, that's going to affect everything. All right, this is where we're going to leave things. It's not done. I can do better. I am pretty happy with like the direction this is headed, and I've been having a ton of fun playing with it. Thanks everyone for joining me today. We got a target for the raid I just saw. It was way up here. It was Peacock. We've raided Peacock before, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Unless you want to do someone new.
No. I love the idea of like checking back in on people and rating them again, and like maybe reinforcing some of those connections. It'd be nice. Oh, we've rated some cool people. Oh shit, what are they up to? Oh yeah, Peacock. Peacock's great. Peacock rated us. That's where I recognize them from more. Yeah, definitely. All right, and Peacock's got some activity going on in the stream. They look like they're up to some shit. So let's definitely raid Peacock. I'll see you guys on Monday. Thanks so much. I'm not going to be collabing with Kanye West, and no one's going to go DEF CON anything on anyone. Thanks. I will see you on the other side. Let's get this raid going. Raid Peacock. Arming the raid cannons. All right. Have a good one. Have a good weekend. Rest up. Take care of yourselves.